Good Are we muted? No. Good evening, chat. It is also I hate the freaking Discord because it doesn't mirror and I'm all sorts out of whack right now because my screen is like staring at the wrong thing now. Okay. Huh. All right. Anyways, welcome guys. It is Thursday night. It's a Thursday night show. Yeah, so I think Ryan and Tom might need to get a hotel room and work some stuff out here because holy shit. Uh, I thought we were gonna do a little more talking there, but that was the Ryan and Tom show. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, some of you guys, it's tard jousting. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know. I'm a tard, so it's like go tard joust. Like we'll see how it worked. I thought it was better. Bob says we're debating a cancer patient. No, they were making jokes that like because Tom's bald, I'm bald. Like my hair is coming out. Like it looks like my hair is coming out. Ryan, like it's like the stages of like going through cancer treatment. That's all it was. Like Tom does not have cancer. So, you're gonna watch Joe go answer Jewish questions. Yeah. So, do I know that Trump's doing a speech any minute now? I knew he's gonna do something, but I don't know. I don't even know what he. Hold on here. Trump's speech. What did he do? Also, guys, welcome to the show. I'm Sean, also a plenty criminal attorney now in La Floride, who lives in Florida, but is licensed in Ohio. Okay, so what is this? What are we? What did he? Let's see here. What did he talk about? I don't need the live update things. I just need the. Let's see. What did he talk about? Don't give me live updates. Just give me what he said. Jeez, I hate the. Okay, ABC News. Okay. No, I don't even know what he said, but I tried googling it. This is actually fucking hilarious. That the White House teleprompter operator made $100K on prop bets. I love America. I love America. He made $100K on bets on like Kalshi, it looks like. So he was in talks to settle allegations to use insider trading. But that's the problem, guys. You can't, if you're going to whale out, you got to whale out quietly and slowly. So what did he do here? So what was he exactly betting on? He placed bets on more than a dozen Trump speeches. He did it during the Medal of Honor ceremony. And he was one of Trump's teleprompter operators. If you guys know what the teleprompters are, it's that thing of glass that you see right next to them. Those are teleprompters, and it projects up onto it, and they can read it and talk and do stuff. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Clyde's $100,000 now richer. I wish he was. He talked about election integrity. Well, no shit. Okay. I mean, he declassified dropping a shit ton CIA documents regarding China interfering in our elections. Well, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that Chi-Com's interfering in our elections. So, I really am discombobulated. I don't know. I feel great tonight. So I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, I was gonna say, did he go blah 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 blah? I love Israel. I don't know, like, and they were actually in the Discord, the thing between me, Ryan, and Gibbs and Admiral Gibbs, and then Vince and Tom. There was like, well, do we want to cover the Trump thing? And we were kind of like, no, because he's probably going to be late, and then it's going to be him just talking for fucking ever. Even if it's something of substance, he's going to talk forever. And I was just like, he's not going to say, like, unless he's, there's whatever he says can be done at a later time. Like, I doubt there was anything there. So, I voted Obama. No, not at all. Whiskey 77 has been here for 25 months. Says, are you okay? You started on time. Blink twice if you're in danger. How about a blink and a half? What a blink and a half. Salvatore says, I have the legit stunning Steve Austin from WCW haircut. God. It does. It makes me look so like, it makes me look like I'm, like I'm not reaped, but it's like, Jesus Christ, man. Still that fucking hairstyle is fucking killing me. It's rough. It's rough, man. And Edward says he's officially late and gay. I don't think so. I think you lost on that one, buddy. He called himself the boomer, but you don't live up to the if you ain't early, you're late code. Well, I think that's always nonsense. If you're on, like, you get to the airport early, you're early. It's not like if you're on time, you're on time. Because if you're on time, you're late. No, if you're on time, you're on time. If the airplane's on time, it's on time. If the train's on time, it's on time. If your tea time, you show up on time, you're on time for your tea time. Does that mean if I have a tea time at like 3:50, does that mean I have to show up and like tee off at 3:40? Otherwise I'm late? No, that would be retarded. Like, Vince Lombardi is a bit cringe in that regard. Like, yes, the idea is to show up 10 minutes early. Great idea. And if he just said that would have made a lot of sense. But, weird Italian Polak football coaches. That's almost a dark side Philism. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're early, you're on time. That's almost a dark side Philism. Do you really want to be a dark side Phil person, guys? I don't think so. It's something to think about out there. And right now, I just shattered fucking minds. I'm like that chick in the IBM commercial or the Apple commercial with the sledgehammer, just as I wear my lesbian haircut. And hold on, chat. What's that, sweetheart? Sweetheart? Hello? Oh, she was saying something, then she walked away. So I don't know. Chat. She's a woman. It wasn't important anyway. EDW Raptor said, you did great in the debate, champ. Here's a juice box and a bag of chips. Well, thank you. I did better picking my points to interject. Yeah, thank you, Jefferson. Jefferson says, a pair of leftists running from definitions. Well, that's every discussion is people either hiding or running from definitions. So Malcolm says, IBS has gotten really lame. Well, that's not IBS. That's more like Twitch Paul and Twitch politics that kind of bled over into YouTube. Because YouTube's a more fertile hunting ground and, money-making opportunity than Twitch. Unless you're Hassan. Or you're people like Destiny to keep getting fucking, like, not able to do it. So, let me see here. Let's see. Zero rest, this is a joke. Yeah. Oh, no, I understand there's no point in debating. It's tar jousting. I understand. Like, I'm not going to win any of their people over. They're not going to win any. Like, anybody who came for me is not going to be like, oh, well, those guys have a point. But also, nobody on their side is going to be like, hey, this fat fuck Sean guy's got a good point. Like me going and talking to a bunch of dabblers. I wouldn't be expecting them to be like, hey, this Sean guy is not too bad after all. Like, you can't expect that to start with. Yes. So, let's see here. Why is Jeremy suing Camelot? He's not. Jeremy can't fight. I guess we're gonna, first couple minutes we'll address some off-topic things. I was gonna say for them tomorrow night, Jeremy ain't suing Camelot. He ain't got no fucking money. Number one, number two, to show he's losing money and all that stuff. Just like Johnny Depp, you need like $1 million experts. And Jeremy has just been on a terminal decline because it's just he shills boomer slop. And it's Trump slop, and the Trump bump is gone. Trump has really hurt himself politically, which means, like, just in general. But I mean, like, just think about it. Like, it's just in general, Jeremy sucks. So him suing Camelot would be fucking retarded. People would give Camelot $1 million fucking dollars for legal defense just to fuck Jeremy over. People from the left and the right would come together. Like, it'd be like, all the swords of man striking as one. I forget what video game that is where the guy's like, it is here when all the swords of man must strike as one. But yeah, all the swords of man will strike as one against Jeremy. They will. All the swords and all the bull hooves will come together against Jeremy. Okay, let me see here. Some of you guys, it's not showing everything. Mario, how you doing? Jesus, Sean, what am I Jesusing? That debate hurt. I don't know. Shit gets to go. It kind of goes and you don't get to control where it goes. Oh, so yeah, the voter fraud. It was an epic Trump-epic failure. I mean, well, yeah, I'm like, I wasn't expecting him to be like, J-Sox out rounding up people right now. Like, yeah, there's nothing like he's gonna come out and just say a bunch of dumb shit, and it's gonna be really, yeah. So I'm not really looking forward to it. Trump Jr. is making billions selling out our military contracts. I mean, they all do. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Not surprised. You got IBS from Taco Bell? Oof. Yeah, I feel bad. I heard about these people getting that thing, and you don't eat salads, you're okay. What are the biggest things? There are apparently documents about the CIA avoiding notifying him. Oh, well, I mean, the CIA is fucking corrupt. Like, no shit they would. They're a bunch of glowies. That's what they do. Are you covering Ron Coleman versus Laura Loomer's Dirty Bloomers? I will be touching on that tomorrow night because we got a bunch of lolcow shit to get into. And that's going to be part of the Alyssa Mercanti Smash JT thing, which that's got its whole level of things going on. The 51 says you play golf. I mean, like, I can drink beer and sweat profusely and, damage pieces of sod. Yes, except for I even think a lot of people are sweating part. That for me, that's golf. I mean, yeah, every once in a while I fucking connect with a shot. But yeah, yes, golf is fun. Even when you as long as if you're not good and you know that and you just kind of just deal with it, it's okay. The problem is though, I'm not I'm one of those guys where when you line up all the way over here so the shot lands straight. But every once in a while, I'll just fucking connect and just go out that way. And you're like, well, that's not good. So no, golf is, yeah. 15 minutes early is on time per military. Well, military is a little different because I've also seen all the memes where we have a formation at 07 for the battalion, but then the platoons are getting together for formation at 04. So that's a whole separate matter. So let's see. I had a band director that would get detention if you weren't early. I think that's a load of shit. That was an Apple commercial. I'm like Sam Gerard. I don't care. You understood. Okay. No one says happy birthday. Not for another month. Let's see. You supported Clyde Ryan's chat. Well, thank you. Sandwich Sundry, good evening, chat. Yes. Sean Sandwich Sundry for 5 subs. Thank you, guys. Get the night started off with an woo. All right, guys. There we go. I think we're caught up. Somebody mentioned about Ethan Klein and Denims. I mean, dismissing it was probably the best idea because she was probably going to win. if the judge already ruled on that one, I bet the countdown one was going to be considered fair use too. Kind of limit the bleeding. Going on the appeal, I mean, I'll talk about this tomorrow, but I mean, like, its appeals are for losers is kind of like the TLDR. But in general, appeals courts are meant to seek finality and help uphold the finality of the court system. And I don't see any particular reason why they will overturn this. And we'll get to what they can do later. But yeah, basically Ethan got kind of boned on that one, but that happens. That happens. Like, talk to an attorney. They'll tell you. There's times like, oh, I thought I had a good case, and the judge is like, nope. And you're like, well, fuck. I guess that's it. So that happens. Oh, yeah, here we go. KMW. Yes. If he will be able to appeal, I mean, he's allowed to appeal. What are his chances of winning? I think even in the dismissal motion, they mentioned he's appealing. Like lottery ticket territory. It's ultimately lottery ticket territory. Jefferson Post says, I don't know. That Game of Saw couple was convincing. And it's funny because, like, we had like 5 minutes ago when I was wearing a t-shirt, and I'm like, oh, I should probably switch. And I went in my bedroom, went in the closet and grabbed, I'm like, first polo I saw, I was like, yoink. And then I get on, I see Ryan, and I'm like, fuck me, dude. Why? Yes, we'll get a lawsuit brand lawsuit. Jesus. Do Sky Bulls even have hooves? Oh, you said early is on time is late. This house is configured differently than our old house, and I can't yell and be heard by Sean when he's streaming anymore. That's very true. We have like hallways now and stuff. There's no straight shots. That's why Clyde can't hear me half the time. I can't get him as easily. So Shredder says it's a non-issue. Nobody cares. Well, oh. Yeah, don't eat the vegetables, Sean. Well, you don't have to worry about that. Although 2.0 would put together this what we had for dinner last night. It was like this it was peppers and tomatoes, and I forget what else was in it. I think there was some onion in it. And it was a nice little like cold salad. It was actually really good. Really, really good. So Lord Apebane says, just pretend to be rich. That's all you need to do about playing golf. That's funny. No, because I still have like same clubs I've had for years. So no, and they're not the best. I can never score a 77. That's not true. If we're playing golf and we're playing around a golf, I bet I can get a 77 on a front nine. I'd score under 77 on. Well, like, I mean, breaking 100, now that would be the goal for me. But, if you told me I had to score 77 by, like, how many holes? Because I could probably stop and be like, up, done. It'd probably be like 13, I get to 77. So, I am the Tiger Woods of LawTube, Phil. Thank you. I don't know if that's good. Is that because, we both got DUI? Well, he's got a bunch of DUIs. I've only had one. Yeah, Canada's on fire, yes. Yeah, I've seen pictures of, like, my family that is up there in Ohio still, inland, 45 minutes away from Lake Erie. And it looks like you can't see a mile across a field. But I also saw the pictures of, like, people in, as T-Rex saying, like, Cleveland. And it looks like it's like a fog or a snow is about to happen. If you guys are up north, I hope you guys are doing okay, because it looks rough up there. It looks really rough. Top Golf. Well, yeah, great. Top Golf, I can just hit whatever direction. And it's like, yeah, it's where I meant to hit it. So, yes. Kia Bathicus, yes. CO Culls inspection at 0800. By the time it reaches you, you're outside at 0430. Yeah, I've heard that. That part sucks. Emily Autori says, is Publix your favorite sandwich place now? I still haven't had a pub sub. I guess Saturday or even you know what I'll do, chat tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll go have a pub sub. I'll go get one from Publix. I still haven't had one, so I'll get one tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I will report to you on the results. But I've not had a pub sub. So, Bob Tube said, "Oh, declassifying emails." Yeah. Oh, am I trying to catch up yet? In a couple, man. Mario says, "How many appeals were you like? Well, I guess I would have lost under those facts if those were actually the facts." Yeah, not so much that as I still think the biggest one I had was where the prosecutor kept violating the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. The trial court refused to give a curative instruction, and the Court of Appeals says, "Well, that was very disturbing and chilling to the Fifth Amendment. Uh, he's fucking guilty anyway. Who cares?" That's usually what happens in the criminal cases. They don't even worry about the facts. They just go, "Fuck it, he's guilty." In the civil cases, though, that's where you get some appeals, and you're just like, I don't think the court read the same, like understood the same case. It's it can be really bad. Neutral Robinson says in PPP's Ralph's voice. Okay, not only is he late, but he's also gray. How does that make you feel, Bish? Yeah, they're done for they took a week off. And Emil or Emily, I'm not sure. Tori is a new member. Thank you. Did my hair grow back yet? No. Not yet. I mean no. Clyde always shoots an 18. Yes, he does Kim Jong-un, Matt. He does Kim Jong-un golf. So Three Bear says, "You sure?" I have pictures of what? You're in Chicago. It's really bad. It says really bad in Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I was down here and there was a little bit of thunder, but I was in the pool and there was some thunder going on, and I was like, huh. It's really close, and if lightning hits me, it's gonna suck. But I'm like, I'm just gonna relax. And then the clouds went away, and I was like, ah. So yeah, it kind of sucked here too. Don't worry, I understand. Jefferson Post says, "I guess why it's so yellow out lately." Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh, Fuka Maru says it's just a handmade boar's head sandwich, nothing more. Oh, really? That's it? Then I can make that. Boar's head's nothing impressive. Nothing impressive. T.O. Hank, how you doing? Says spicy chicken nuggets and green cup. Home run. I like I said, yeah. And yeah, and this is the one thing I will say. Winn-Dixie is a better meat selection than Publix does. Publix was not impressive. So, all right, guys, it's time to get to the show. Oh, Emily and Tori was the bonded security agent on a Chuck Barris game show called The New Treasure Hunt. Really? Okay. 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 Well, there you go. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the explanation because I did not I didn't get it. But I appreciate that. Who's the first hot tub stream with? Your mom. It's Fuckamaroo. Fuckamaroo. First hot tub stream is going to be with your mom. It's going to be me and Drex and your mom. Your mom it's going to be like Harry and the Hendersons, where he's watching the chicken get put in the pot and he sees the lady go in the hot tub, and your mom's just going to look like she's getting like a Ronco rotisserie. That's what's going to happen. So, Adam says your mom's dead, Sean. That's illegal. That's how good she was getting it. She couldn't take it. Although Chuck Barris, isn't Chuck Barris the game show host where they thought he was a CIA spy or an assassin, or is that a different guy? There was some 70s game show host where people thought he was like a spy or some shit. Winn-Dixie is owned by Aldi. Oh, cool. I think you meant Aldi, this grocery company, not like Audi, like the cars. The Spook from the Gong Show. There you go. What game show? I don't know. It was one of the game shows. He was apparently like, people think he was like a CIA hitman or some sort of thing. So, all right, guys. Anyway, it's time to get go. It's time to get going. We are going to start with. We're not starting with the thing you think we're starting with. We're going to wait for that. We are waiting for that, chat. We're actually going to go talking about the deflocking of America. And, we've been seeing this go on and on now. Flock cameras, there's a battle now. There is a war raging in our streets, chat, about the flock automated license plate readers. And you know what? Nothing but love for the people out there who are taking the battle to flock. Like I said, I can't encourage you to commit crimes, chat, but we're getting some fucking hilarious images out there of people doing stuff to flock cameras. And I think this one is just hilarious, painted on the side of a building. It's got Mel Gibson for the Patriot with a sawzall. And just as he said before he started his fight, Lord, make me fast and accurate. And it is just getting, the lulls are just going. And I don't know what more you can want out of this, but Flock is just getting its ass kicked everywhere you go. Now, there are some issues. It sounds like some places are like Axion, the body cam and taser company, is kind of like picking up the slack, and they're quietly phasing them out anyway. But you got to keep on top of it. The civil liberties involved in this are intense. And I will say, even S2 Underground, guys, if you don't follow him here on YouTube, this guy here on Twitter, S2 Underground, you want to learn how to run a ghost net and various things with electronics and run it a right way, this is the way to go. This guy is the man for it. He actually had a very interesting conversation that came to him. And he said, we're not doing all this shit. And what happened here? Well, he got from this guy, Rahul Sidhu. And you're like, of course, Sar. This guy is a dude who's in charge of Flock operations or something in Flock. And, when he's like, the term tyrants one, that surprises me. Can you tell me why you think we're tyrants? Because all you're doing is existing and supporting the government. And you're supporting and enabling the surveillance state. That's all you're doing. You're not making me safer. Are you under the impression that flock cameras are installed without elected city council permission? Once again, hey, we get to the idea, hey, we had a vote on it. That means it's okay. We didn't get to that point in the debate, but I thought we were going to get to that point. I'm like, just saying we had a fucking vote is one of the scariest things you can do in the world. We voted on something. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. The Germans voted on the Jews. That didn't turn out very well either, but they had a vote. But, my city council voting for something doesn't mean it's okay. They can do all kinds of shit. Yeah, I didn't vote for it. Yeah. It's just, I think it's hilarious that they're trying to tell us to, thanks for engaging. No worries if you're not up for it. It's like, fuck you. Like, you're not going to come out there and admit, yeah, all we're doing is supporting the government and giving them data they don't have to get a warrant for. And especially now after Chatry, which, God, we need to go over that. If the government's getting cell phone like geofencing data, and they need a warrant, getting stuff from like Flock probably will require warrants going forward. I mean, I'd argue that anyway, but I'd argue this shit shouldn't exist. But yeah, we're doing it here. We're doing this, and it's... Yeah, I didn't vote for this. My town, we have 2 of them. Yeah. Yeah, it's... Yeah, it's a very big problem here. It's a very big problem. And I will say, there are, guys, F's in the chat for the Flock camera in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. The cops are asking for leads and nobody's talking. And I love that, I'm not going to lie. I've looked for the couple near me. and I have to go out tomorrow. The people who we bought our house from, they still had a couple of like little American flags. They must have stored up for things. And I'm going to keep a couple in my car. So if I ever see a flock camera down, I'll tape a flag to it and be like, based. But yes, apparently they're getting cut down. And yes, this is always true, chat. Snitches don't get stitches. Snitches sleep in ditches. This is America. Don't be a fucking commie. Don't be a snitch. Don't be snitching, chat. Stop snitching. So one thing I agree about in the hood, stop snitching. Stop snitching. And then from here, I got to give a shout out because these guys, this happened out where I grew up. I did not okay, to be fair, I grew up in Lorain County, Ohio, southern Lorain County, Ohio. This occurred in Ashland County, Ohio, which is right there. And if you guys want to know where we're talking about, this is we're talking about God's country, chat. And I know you think you live in God's country, but let me tell you what, God's country is this area, chat. Basically, this is God's country here. This is God's country. Okay? Anyways, that's God's country. And even down a little further south, this is God's country. Best place on earth. Best place on earth. Well, down in Ashland County, Ohio, they're not even cutting the fucking flock cameras down. They're not even cutting them down. Courtesy of Fox 8 News, Cleveland.
Authorities say since July 8th, flock safety cameras in the city of Ashland and Ashland County have been the targets of vandals. In some cases, the flock camera poles were hit by a car or truck.
Who has time? Who has time for a Sawzall when you have time for the brush bumper on your F-250 or your deer guard on your truck? Absolutely how you do it. Absolutely how you do it. Yeah, just running them down, chat. This is the embracing of, God rest his soul, Uncle Terry. But, as he told us.
The CIA niggers glow in the dark. You can see them if you're driving. You just run them over. That's what you do.
You just run them over. And here we go, chat.
And in others, the equipment was struck by what authorities believe is a baseball bat or club. The victims of the vandalism are
in Ashland County, it's like my fucking people. Oh my God, I love it.
Taxpayers who pay for the cameras.
They're the public's cameras. We've had some tax dollars that have been put to use for these things. I think overwhelmingly the general public would like to have a safe community, and these cameras are a piece of that.
The Ashland County Sheriff says the vandalism is part of a trend across the country, and he believes it is based on misinformation.
People have this perception that these cameras are out there tracking them all over the place and all this other nonsense, and that's simply not true. They take pictures of license.
Yes, they take pictures. They track your license plate. They track you as you drive around. Yes, Sheriff, they are tracking you as you drive around, buddy. They are tracking you as you drive around. Yes, that's what they're doing. Also, guys, real quick, just so you know, this is back here in the distance is I-71, I think, in Ashland, and it's home to one of the coolest gun stores around, Fin, Feather, and Fur. But anyways, yes, they track you. Yes, they're tracking.
Plates, and then we read the license plates based on the data that we input. If we're looking for a specific plate, we look for the plate. Or if there's a wanted person attached to it, or if there's a missing person attached to it, or somebody that's in harm's way.
You could do that on your own.
Data. Investigators say, ironically, they are using the flock safety cameras in their effort to identify those who have been damaging the cameras.
So they leave from damaging our camera and drive by another one that maybe they didn't know about, or go to another county or whatever. So, yes, it's very possible that flock cameras could help us catch the individuals responsible for damaging our own cameras.
Once the vandals are brought to justice, authorities intend to seek restitution to repair or replace the cameras that have a value of up to $3,500 per unit.
Also, apparently, chat, from some of the memes that have been posted, there's like about 3 pounds of copper in a flock camera, which I don't know if that's true because that's a lot of copper wiring, but it does sound like there's copper and precious metal in those things. So I'm not telling you what to do, but it's just something to think about. There might be financial gain for you engaging in urban copper reclamation. But yes, there are some, the deflocking of America continues, and I am for it all. Dark Lotus says thick walled pipe bear. Yeah, actually, this is very dangerous because these pipes are not like light poles where they can break away at the bottom with the bolts and they're meant to break away safely. These are actually very dangerously assembled and put together. So those cameras aren't worth 3,500. Yeah, I know they say that. Yeah, I saw that there's always 3 pounds in them, but who knows? There's a free camera in there. I'm just saying, chat, once again, in broad daylight, if you shine a laser at them, you can't tell where the laser came from. So, yeah, it's a high def Wi-Fi camera without a router. Yeah, I agree. So, yes, they also have 1 to 3 grams of gold, which that's a lot of gold. I saw that meme too. It's like 1 to 3 grams of gold. I'm like, you could go make money instead of the guys up in Alaska. It's like, screw sitting there with a vacuum cleaner sucking out a river. It's like, just start stealing these fuckers. The solar panel and the batteries, yeah, they all have wiring. Yes. Tell the meth heads about all the copper in those. And it's safer than going after a transformer because unlike a transformer, those guys don't go zzz. Like, they could take these apart and it won't hurt them. Like, there's a lot of safety in this. So it's just something to think about, guys. But no, the war on flock cameras, if you haven't had the chance, don't be afraid to go to your local, I'm finding out when the next city council meeting is for me. And I'm going and asking, are we still doing flock cameras? Are we engaging in this? What's going on? I don't want this. How do we go about getting rid of this? Like, those are things you can do. Yeah, the guardrail guy is very upset about these cameras. Yeah. And then there's one last thing, and I wanted to show you guys this. A guy got caught, vandalizing flock cameras. And this one's kind of interesting. Here as we get to it. Like I said, we talk about crimes, and, like I said, I can't condone it, but I fully understand it.
Bizarre scene in court today. A judge says she will issue an arrest warrant for the man accused of vandalizing license plate readers in Rio Rancho, but he says he has no intention to stop his actions.
You have plans to continue to take down these flock carriers?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. They are a clear and present threat to public safety.
44-year-old Javon Martinez is facing larceny property damage.
Okay, even though the name's a little sus, based.
And tampering with evidence charges after police.
How is he tampering with evidence? He's destroying the thing.
Say he destroyed 3 flock cameras, costing Rio Rancho thousands of dollars in damage. They say he replaced the cameras with the sign saying, "You're welcome, Republic of New Mexico." Martinez showed up to court today, but he refused to identify himself during the proceedings. The judge considered that as a failing to appear in court, but Martinez claims he exercised his right to remain silent.
No, I can't. You call me, but I am here. I'm right here. I stood up. I walked up there. She wanted my name, but I have a right to not bear testimony against myself. Giving my name consults as testimony.
I mean, technically, yeah, he didn't pull the sovereign citizen thing and saying, "I'm not here." He's like, you're asking, you're kind of playing games at that point, but I support this guy.
And so I just chose to remain silent.
The judge said she would issue an arrest warrant for Martinez for failure to appear. As of this afternoon, it has yet to be filed. After the hearing, Martinez filed affidavits from witnesses saying he did show up.
What kind of flag is this guy flying with the white field and the blue stars and the vertical stripes? That was a little different.
For the hearing.
Okay, I got you there. So, no, that's not free man on the land stuff. He didn't say I'm representing an interest. He's just, I refuse to acknowledge who I am. I refuse to acknowledge because that if I admit who I am, then you could prosecute me. So, I like his comically huge hat Well, in the South, well, number one, it's the sun. You need sun protection, and number two, he's got a R that you Martinez. So yeah, he's gonna have a sombrero. Is that the independent country Texas flag? No. No, he just said Republic of New Mexico, but that doesn't mean anything. It's a sob sit flag. Oh, okay. I mean, I know it's not like the Gulliford Courthouse flag, which I think is probably one of the. I discovered it recently. I think it's actually probably like the coolest American flag. It's even cooler than a Serapis flag. So, yeah, Texas would have had a big star on it, because they're the Lone Star State. They're all lone. Everything is fine over here. It says that is not the South hat. That is comical. I mean, I don't know. It's a thing, yeah. His colorblind dream of being a pilot going realized. Radcon says the Serapis flag is hard to beat in terms of coolness. Yeah, but the Gulliford County Courthouse flag from the Battle of Guilford or Guilford County Courthouse, pretty cool from the Revolutionary War. So, yes. I was getting GPS interference from the flock camera. Oh, that's the official soft sit flag? I guess I didn't know they had a flag. I just knew they were. How do they agree on an official flag? Because they're all fucking loons. I don't know. But anyways, guys, yes, the battle to deflock America continues. If you can do your part, don't be afraid just to go, do a little agitation at a city council meeting and say, what the fuck is going on, bro? I don't like it. And I think you can all get involved and go after these things and take a look at that stuff. There's no problem at all with that. There's no problem at all. So Sandoval County, that's pretty close to home. Well, there's only so many counties anyway in New Mexico, right? Yes, it's an official soft sit. Yeah, it's like, but that like it goes against kind of the vibe of being a sovereign citizen. Like standardized license plates for the sovereign citizens. No, you have to make your own. That's part of the thing. Because if you're all like a sovereign citizen, but you all agree, you've almost formed government at that point. And if you all agree, this is our banner, you've kind of made government again. And it's like, no, you yes, the natural state of man is to band together and form government. But like, you're not, it doesn't work. I don't think it works that way for them. So, yeah. Yeah, that's what it defeats the premise of sovereign citizen. I agree. Yes. At least he didn't steal my beloved Bonnie Blue. Yeah, so I'm waiting for the story of a Waymo running over a flock camera. That would be hilarious. Yes. That would actually be hilarious. That would be so funny. That would be so funny. All right, guys, moving on from here. This one I thought was interesting, and you guys may not have, like we talked about before in cities and in states. Like, for example, in Massachusetts, we touched on this, where the court-appointed attorneys in the state of Massachusetts, their private attorneys who take cases were like, no, we're not doing this no more. And they said, we're not taking cases because you're not paying us. We're starting to see that happen more and more and more. There are pushbacks. We've seen places where public defenders' offices have said, Your Honor, I can't take any more cases. I refuse to take any more from this court because we are way too overburdened. And as this goes on here, we're starting to see now a situation of we're starting to see here. Let me see. Hold on, what is it? Hold on, chat. I just lost it. Okay, where is... Okay. So we are now getting to striking and attorneys going on strike. You're like, wait, how do attorneys go on strike? And that's this a little interesting here. So in Brooklyn, like Brooklyn, New York, and actually, this isn't organized public defender organizations. It depends where you live. Some states have fully staffed offices. Some states don't, like Ohio doesn't have that. Some counties may have an office, but for the most part, even in those counties, they still rely on probably 40 to 50% court appointed attorneys because there's just too much work. I merged out. Yeah. Sorry. Do I smell toast? I was just stuck in what I was trying to say there, guys. Sorry. It happens. We're now in the situation of in Brooklyn, New York, the public defender's office went on strike. And they're part of the UAW, which the way unions work is so weird to me that I know a lot of police unions are organized through the UAW. It's like, why don't they have a different, it's just weird how that all works out. But these are professionals and they're through the United Auto Workers Union. It's so weird. So weird. But it's how they do it. But also Colt Firearms Corporation. The guys who are making M4 carbines were unionized through the UAW, which was kind of weird too, but that's how they do it. That's how they do it. Anyways, I thought this was interesting. Over, not only the attorneys, but the legal staff in the second largest public defender organization went on strike today. And it's attorneys in criminal, immigration, and family court cases in the city's two largest boroughs, went on strike. It's just an interesting thing how this works, and you wouldn't think that attorneys like that are organized at that kind of level. They might have civil service protections, but no, these guys are fully unionized. And it was, can you step in as a scab public defender? Yeah, I go pack my bags and go up to New York. But no, it is interesting how this works. I just thought this was actually very interesting. The union used to break strikes. Yeah. It's just something you wouldn't think about. But these guys are unionized on the extent the guys working at the Ford plant are unionized, or the guys working at the stevedores union, or the longshoremen are unionized, or the Boilermakers and the pipe fitters and the millwrights, and the electricians, or the laborers or the concrete guys. I thought this was actually just really, really interesting here. There are other strikes that might happen. There might be sympathy strikes, which are kind of generally a no-no. But there's, they might go and strike in solidarity. Over 900 public defenders, just disappearing from the court systems. Yeah. It's good, bad, or indifferent. I thought this was it's wild to read about this. And how does that work though? How what do you do if you're a defendant? You come into court and you're like, Your Honor, my attorney's on strike. He's not getting paid enough. And no, it's not my fault. I wonder how that works when you are an attorney and how you can. I might reach out to them and actually submit as a journalist and a member of the press and just ask how does that work with the duties of representation and the duties to clients, and how does that all work when you're not doing this, and how do they balance out all of that? Because it's not like they're withdrawing. It just sounds like they went on strike and they wouldn't be able to withdraw anyway. Oh, Jefferson, you're saying broad general strike. I don't mean general strike in like the where you hear like Jimmy Dore talking about like a general strike where like me, you, the guy at Jiffy Lube, the guy working at Publix, like everybody fucking goes home. No, I mean a strike in general, probably. I should specify because a general strike is like commie fucking hopium that they hope that happens. So that's a different thing here. But yeah, it is very interesting how this is all set up. I just admitted he was gay as a member of the press. Yeah. Can we unionize chat? No. No, I'm closing this shop down. The NLRA doesn't apply here, you scabs and commies. But I really am. I think I am going to write to them and just say, how does that work? And I'm not even trying to be an asshole. I just don't understand if I'm an attorney. I'm refusing to go to court and do my job. And it's not, it's one thing where your client's not paying, you have attorney-client issues. But when that happens, you withdraw. These guys are just like, I'm not going to go to court today, Judge. Why? Because I'm not getting paid enough. That's not your client's problem. I know, but I don't care. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that, and I really want to know the answer to it. So I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of cool to take a look at out there. I thought that was very, very interesting. And I need to see. Do I have? Okay, yeah, we've got some stuff here. Okay, it was very, yeah. They had a bagel union in New York City. Dirty Eric says, as a proper son of the South, I hate unions. And I can understand that. So, yeah, we actually try to get a strippers union in New Jersey. Well, they might need a union. Get better working hours. Oh. But you know what's not unionized, chat? You know what's not unionized? Stoney's Bar. That's right, chat. Stoney's Bar at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. That's right. Stoney's isn't unionized. Stoney's isn't collectivized. Stoney's stands alone. When you go there, you can be part of the party and have a fun time. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to you when you have to stand out there on that naked twister mat out on the beautiful Stoney's patio. It's not new anymore, but it is well seasoned, chat. When you're out there on that oiled up twister mat, standing there naked, it's just you and that other man. There's no team. It all comes down to opportunity for individual achievement. Maybe your achievement will be against Aaron Imholt. It all depends. Some nights he shows up. He's like Kimi Räikkönen. He shows up under under a nom de guerre and does Twister under a false identity. He's got the face maker like a Mission Impossible, and he's just like, you'll show up there one day and you'll think, But chat, it's Stoney's. What more can I tell you? What more can I tell you? Like, guys, go there. It's $2.50 can night, guys. It's only 9:30. They're open till midnight. Go out there, crank your hog. It's hog night. Wild Willie's Sandwich Shack was there. Saturday, 6 ways. 6 ways to Sundays in the garage. And I don't know what more you guys want. I don't know what more you guys want out of a place that's consistently giving you the best entertainment around. And, it's a community. It's a community. It's a family. It's Stoney's. I mean, if you want more, you're asking for the moon. And you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. So, guys, go to Stoney's. You will not be disappointed. Stoney's, serving Minnesota for 30 years running. It's the best biker bar around. Additionally, chat, we have MAF Corporation, MAF-arms.com, chat. Promo code POTCRIM for 10% off. Gets you off all your wind chimes and wind chime accessories. Guys, show them some love out there. Show Matt and Ivan the Rat Man some love. They would appreciate it. And then chat, last but not least, thedragonstreasure.com. Chat, that's right. 10% off. Use the code criminal. However you feel about the T-Man, don't worry about him right now. Worry about breaking the back of Meme Copium. This Aussie or Kiwi or whatever he is. I don't know. I don't know what he is. But the man don't even want the country that gave him his name. He's a weeaboo. We must defeat him. We must crush him. We must grind him under our heel. Help me do that. I need your help. Promo code criminal for 10% off. Help me do it, Chad. Help me do it. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Told Monkey says, had 10 or 15 beers and crank my hog. Yes, please. Well, you have to crank your own hog. So. You guys are worried about T-Man, and you got to worry about, just say "nar" to the cope. That's right. Say "nar" to the cope. Disloyal chat. Yeah, still maybe a little disloyal. Why is it? This zoom out. It should be like there. Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. You can use Vices and see if Jeff gets a kickback in the afterlife. Was there a code for Dragon's Treasure that involved Jeff? So, interesting chat. All right. We are going to go on to a couple other things here, guys. Tonight might be a little short, but you know what we are going to do? We are going to have a good, fun time over on Locals tonight. So, I just want to promise you guys that. And actually, here, I need to fix something over on Locals that had not been addressed. Where is... Okay. What's a good... All right. You know what, chat? I got it. Okay. It is July. It's July 16th already, guys. We are getting through. We're going through the summer so fast already. I can't believe it. Chat. So. We have a new code for tonight over on Locals, guys, and that's a potentially criminal.locals.com. And it's better. The promo code is oh, damn it, I'm on the wrong one. Oops, wrong thing. Oh, why is this not working? Oh, there we go. That's why it wasn't working. I hate it when it does that. Anyways, guys, we have a new promo code over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Promo code, all lowercase, is DFLOCK. It should be good. I just made sure it was set. I tried to set it before, and I think it's working. We'll see, though. Oh, no, I messed up. Oh, shit. Hold on. Can I fix this? No, it doesn't let you mess with... Oh, my God. That sucks. Hold on, chat. Oh, we got to fix that. Hold on. No, there shouldn't be a use limit to it. Let me see here. That was not good. Damn it. I hate this with Locals. They don't let you fix codes and reuse codes. Oh, that code's already used. Come on. Let's see here. Dang it. Okay. Let me see. Hmm. There we go. We'll make that work here. And we'll fix that chat. Sorry, I hate that when Locals does this. They don't let you fix codes. So I set it for one time, meaning like I only want you to use it once, but that's not the thing there. So it's actually Deflock America chat, has unlimited uses. And we'll be over there tonight, guys. We get to have all kinds of fun and do stuff. Code toe pie. Ew. Hot tub. No. The code towers. Flock off. Yeah. So. Erica, no, it was not that, but actually, God, I like that better. No, it was like DE flock, but I just changed my password to deflock. God. I wish Sean would go alcoholic lolcow so PPP could mock his tech issues. That wasn't a tech issue. That was just me not having it set. So do the code building 7. One day I'll do that. I don't know if I could, building haircut. Oh, that's a good one too. Or flock off. Yeah, we'll work on that. If I do building 7, doesn't Dave Rubin own part of like Locals and stuff? I'll get banned immediately. So, but anyways, guys, join us over there. We'll do all kinds of fun stuff. Get to hang out and yeah, taking advantage of that going forward. All right. Couple things before we, we're gonna say the big issue for last. We said the big issue for last. I think that's the best way to do it tonight. You know what? Actually, hold on. Don't know. I don't know here. Let's see. Oh, you're taking off. Have a nice night. Are you pregnant? No. There's a big issue. Yeah. You want the goo? Yeah. All right. We'll get into it now. There are new developments in the HRO saga versus Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law and Aaron Immel of the Steel Toe Morning Show. And I guess we'll start there. There's some other things too, guys, but we're going to start off with some things here. And I'm just like a little like this, the way this is going, you're like, well, as I said, Aaron's biggest enemy is Aaron. Although in this case, it's not Aaron specifically, but it is Aaron's attorney. And what happened? Well, remember, as this case unfolded, evidence was taken, and the court threw, because Nick's attorney was arguing about some First Amendment claims, that he wanted additional briefing done. So additional briefing was ordered. And believe it or not, there's some issues here. And this comes out in what happened is Aaron's attorney asked for an extension of the initial deadlines to get to July 3rd. Well, some stuff has happened, and it's like July 3rd came and went. And by the 8th, Nick's attorney actually does, despite the fact that Nick points out his attorneys fucking suck. And he's pointed out repeatedly, they've apparently done all kinds of things without his permission and done things he didn't want. And he acts like all kinds of things happen there. Some things happened where Brian Johnson, Aaron's attorney, didn't get the brief submitted. And this is a filing from Frank White and Nick's attorney here. And they bring some stuff up. And once again, guys, this is just, you got to stay on top of things. So his attorney says, after we set a briefing schedule, the date for the opening brief was extended to July 3rd. However, it had to be filed on the date, and it wasn't. And they point out this is currently day 5 after the brief should have been filed. And then it says Chambers, meaning Chambers, saying the court, sent out an email to petitioner's counsel, Aaron's counsel, inquiring about the status of it, to which Aaron's attorney had yet to reply. And here's their point. They're saying, even if Aaron filed it out of time today and the court accepted it nunc pro tunc, that wouldn't be nunc pro tunc, though, because you're just accepting it out of time. But, nunc pro tunc is, generally speaking, I think, generally the courts are correcting things that are not correct on the record. Accepting a nunc pro tunc, I don't think would be, at least where I practice, you wouldn't say it that way. You're just accepting it out of time. But I guess maybe Minnesota, they consider it like that and how it would be technically stated. But yeah, Nick still suffers a hardship in meeting the briefing schedule. At that point, you're 5 days now. If you got it today, that's 5 days I haven't had to respond, digest, and formulate. So yeah, it's a big deal. The lack of filing presumably also demonstrates that petitioner can identify 2 discrete acts that qualifies harassing conduct. No, it's just for whatever reason it didn't get fucking done, and it's normally because they just didn't do it. It's because they fucked off or forgot. It's never like the idea you could say, well, that's because they don't have anything. No, they can point to acts under the HRO statute, taking into account their status as public figures. But are they public figures? Nick said they're boyfriends. Nick called Aaron his boyfriend. What does that do with being a public figure? It implies they have a very private, very serious and very private relationships. And they say, for these reasons discussed in this letter, I respectfully request our case be dismissed. I don't know if this would be enough here, but yeah, go for the throat. Why not? Go all the way out. Like, Nick's attorneys finally did something that I'm like, this is 100% correct. They're doing it the right way. It's weird for me to say that for the Francis White law firm, but yes, they're finally doing something where I'm like, good job. We got another letter on July 9th. And guys, remember, in Minnesota, apparently, this is how you do it. You respond in letter format. It's very much like on the East Coast, where you respond in letters. Other places, it should be a motion, but here it's a letter. That's, once again, how they do it. So, go for whose throat? Well, yes, in the context of all the goo eating and everything, yes, that was very not clear. Is that watermark a Hammond sickle? No, that is pretty anti-social's watermark. Because apparently Nick is just dumping documents left and right. So, and he's using her to put them out there. So he points out here, this letter is relative to the matters regarding Mr. Johnson, Aaron's attorneys, to Chambers yesterday afternoon, opposing my request. Now, this is interesting. The record should not be provided as email to Chambers, as it subsequently responds to my request for dismissal. I didn't think there was any indication it wasn't, and I don't know why Nick didn't include it when he sent it out to her, but hey, whatever. I'm sure Nick is curating this in the way he wants to portray in certain images. And they say it's a complete record enables appellate review. It should have become necessary. Yeah, and I agree. If they say something like that, it should be part of the record, and that email should be filed as part of the record. I don't know if it was or not, but it sounds like nothing was here, and Nick hasn't included what that was about because his attorney would have seen it. The complete and public record also preserves the public interest in access to what their courts are doing. Oh, yeah. Nick is big on the courts knowing what's going on, huh? Oh, yeah, that's certainly that's the Nick Rekieta we all know. He should be ordered to file that email with the clerk. Yeah, I think that's fair. I would be asking for that as well. The initial brief due date, as well as the extension of the new date, was requested by Mr. Johnson. And yeah, he asked for the 3rd to be the new date. My client's injury goes beyond the delay itself. Every day that passes, Mr. Rekieta is unable to speak about a matter of, as Mr. Johnson stated, much public exposure and publicity. Really? Nick's talked about him all fucking kinds of times. Nick's right of free speech is thus being injured by the delay. Is it really? Constitutional rights should only be curtailed to the minimum extent necessary to achieve a compelling interest. Yes, that is strict scrutiny. A delay in briefing is not the minimum extent necessary, thus the reason supports a dismissal. I mean, you could just say you're out of time, he didn't do it, therefore. I think you'd be better at that than banging on your First Amendment drum. But hey, you know, they want to make the arguments they can make. Like I said, sometimes they made one good argument so far. So this one, like, They say additionally, Nick remains a public figure regularly sought after for legal commentary. Okay. He receives national media attention as recently as this morning. Yeah, you mean the Daily Mail when they found out that he got invited to the, the passport, nonsense? Yeah. Yeah, he got media attention, not for anything good. Mr. Riqueda's reputational interest is also at stake. No, I'm like this thing couldn't exist, and Nick would still have the same reputational interest. It's not like people are magically not going to think, he's a loser that got addicted to coke and burned his life up. I mean, is that all of a sudden going to change? I don't think so. I don't think so. He deserves that vindicated as soon as possible. Well, this is not how you would vindicate it. He's got he needs a time machine if that's what he's looking for. An open-ended delay materially harms that interest. You mean like when you guys sought a bunch of continuances, apparently you didn't tell Nick about it? I mean, once again, Nick talks about his attorneys doing a bunch of shit he never approved of, and it's like, then why are you paying them money and why are you not grieving them? That's kind of what you should be doing if they're not acting in your interest. And they say this too supports dismissal. As far as the transcript receipt date, and apparently it sounds like Aaron's attorney said that we were waiting on the transcript, but he was aware when his brief was due. If he needed the transcript sooner to accommodate his schedule, presumably the court reporter would be able to accommodate a sooner date for an additional amount payable. Now, that is an argument. I don't know how well in Minnesota that works, but I could say here in Ohio, it's like, well, you should have paid more to get it. Like, we gave this date. Now, what should have happened if Aaron's attorney was having trouble getting the transcript by a certain date, should have said, Your Honor, it's going to take X amount of time here, or found an outside party that would do it. And, you could find them probably for a pretty comparable price to transcribe it. And you could go to outside firms that do this stuff, and they're certified court reporters when they do it. So it all works out, and you don't have to worry about, like, they weren't the one in the courtroom, because that doesn't matter at the end of the day. They say similarly, this reason does not support a delay. And I would agree. It sounds like, and I don't know, I mean, based on what they're saying here, and I'll take them at their word for it, it's very much like when Nick and Melton did their continuance nonsense. They knew for months that it was happening, and then at the last minute, they asked for continuance. If you know you're having problems with the transcripts or timing, as soon as you can bring that up, the better. The sooner the better. 2 months out, or however soon you could bring it up, it's a better thing to do, because then the court may be more likely to grant it. It's reasonable. But if you know this whole time it's not working and you fuck around or whatever it is and you don't get it done, that creates problems. That creates a lot of problems here. So they are making, like, I will say some of these arguments I don't agree with. Some of them I think are actually good arguments. And it says, well, I'm sympathetic to Mr. Johnson's illness. So it sounds like he was also sick too. His tummy hot, which occasioned the request to extend. Now, it all depends on what he was ill with. Like, did you have the man cold? Or did you have, like, appendicitis and they had to cut you open and you went septic? Like, that's one thing. But if you had a man cold, or you just weren't feeling good, or you have that explosive diarrhea thing that's going on with the parasite, probably not going to count. So all this here, and the reasons advanced in his email to Chambers, which for some reason Brian Lewis isn't mentioning them, that's a little bit of an indicator. So he must have said some reasons are pretty personal or something serious that doesn't necessarily warrant being blabbed about. Although if he's saying that the emails should be published anyway, I don't know why he didn't just say what they were. But I understand if he didn't want to speak out of turn. Because if the court decides not to order those emails to be published and you publish that information, you're kind of in a bit of a, like, you kind of look like an asshole. So maybe there's a reason for it. We don't know. And it says those reasons should be insufficient to have an open-ended extension. Well, I don't think he's asking for an open-ended of a brief that was largely written before the continued evidentiary hearing. That was likely largely written before the continued hearings. I mean, that's an interesting thought, but you'd send the other letter the day before that they hadn't written it. So I don't. For all the reasons above, I respectfully request the case be dismissed. And I don't think that's wrong. I mean, it wasn't done. Why wasn't it done? Well, you were sick, but you weren't like dying sick. And whatever reasons here don't sound like they may be like reasons, but they weren't like the best reasons or like I totally understand reasons. So yeah, we don't know. We don't know yet. We haven't seen any updates on this because guys, this came out on the 9th. Although I will say we're on the 16th, it's been over a week. I kind of get the feeling the court didn't. And the reason why I don't think the court did is we then see on the 14th, Aaron's attorney files their letter, which is once again their motion, but also their actual arguments they cite. Now, it's only been a couple of days, but we didn't see anything in that meantime from the 9th to the 14th. Any action from the court? Because certainly, if Nick got a dismissal letter, he'd have been plastering it all over to everybody, and they would have all been running and saying, "Look, Aaron bad, and Nick is victorious." Like they would have certainly been dabbing on that, but they didn't. So I don't think that happened, and it hasn't been stated yet. So I don't know if this is actually going to be good going forward. It could be, it could not be, but we'll see. And like I said, I don't know the full answer, so. Certainly, Brian Lewis didn't say they're all bullshit. So I think that's going to be one where it's a discretion in the court whether or not something happened. We don't know. So anyways, he says, "Dear Judge Tivetin, submitted with this letter, please find my brief. I sincerely apologize for the delay. I've been dealing with difficult family issues." What is that? I don't know. So apparently we're learning it's family issues. To avoid prejudicing the defense to Nick, the respondent, I request the court allow the respondent to submit the reply brief by August 14, 2026. So he's saying, Your Honor, kick out their deadline, but I still want my deadline to be August 21st. I mean, that's very noble of you saying, I'll cut my response time down. I don't know if that's really going to be enough. The court might say that's very admirable. You're still late, and it wasn't a good enough reason. So your family issues, sort of like my kid was dying in the hospital and my wife was dying in the hospital, I don't know what are going to be there. So I think the court could dismiss this. I don't know if he will or not, but I could see that. I mean, I think this judge would be looking for something at this point to say, you know what? We had the hearing. I tried to work with everybody. Fuck it. It's dismissed and done. I can see that. We don't know. And tomorrow is Friday. I doubt we'll get anything today or tomorrow. Maybe something next week. Judge will say no. I don't know. We'll find out. We don't know yet. Apparently, you guys are not. I take it good, says Your Honor, the continuance causes sand in the vagina. Well, not necessarily. I mean, you didn't get it done. And I've said this before, like when we're talking about the Smash JT lawsuit, Nielsen Mercanti things. Even Ethan Klein and Denham's, I mean, pick your case. Rules will make you or break you. And one of the, there's, rules of procedure, rules of evidence, constitution, local rules, all those things. But then there's also just basic rules, like the rules of, they're like the rules of thermodynamics. Like if you have a reply, if you have a date, you're supposed to do something, do it by that day. That's not a special court rule. That's just it exists. It's like gravity. It just exists. You don't need that. Like you assume that it's there. Like if I pick up this pen and I drop it, it drops. You have a deadline. You have to respond by it. Absent really good reason. And it sounds like he's got reasons, but how good are they? I don't know. So this is not necessarily one of those times. This is right for them to say, Your Honor, now they're fucking around. How serious are they? And while Aaron might have been like, I wanted this done right away, your attorney kind of co-signs, you get co-signed onto shit. So the judge could still dismiss this. And that would not be a win for the toe. And while that wouldn't be Aaron necessarily himself fucking himself over, It kind of is, though, in a way, because Aaron hired the attorney. So that's what that would be. Just turn gravity off. Yeah, that wouldn't work. That doesn't work. All right, so what does he do here? And this is where they start going into stuff. So making their arguments. They still write their brief. It still got filed. And just because it's filed doesn't mean the court accepts it. The court can reject. You can file things, and the court can reject them or say they're not valid, or they can say it's out of time. Once again, guys, just because you file it does not mean you're good to go. So anyway, going back to the beginning on June 26, 2025, Aaron sought a 1-year HRO against Nick. The allegations provided were deemed credible, and Aaron got the 1-year ex parte initially there. Nick requested a hearing. The first part of the hearing was held in August of 2025, and then in June of 2026. That is, I will say, that is so crazy that it's taken this long. The idea that this wasn't resolved in like a month of the filing is still, from both sides, the amount of continuances and everything from both sides total in this, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy on this. So anyways, here's Aaron's memorandum in support. So what do? Well, they cite a couple of different things that support the request for the HRO, and they're claiming that Nick publicly posting Aaron's pornographic search history on Twitter, the public discussion about Aaron's wiener, which apparently, Nick is saying it's, of course, like Nick's gonna be like, it's small. Sending Aaron a message via Signal stating that Aaron should kill himself, tagging Aaron in a post where it states that he isn't dead yet, sharing Aaron's private information during a public event, and then attending the court hearing to harass another. A couple of these really are not going to get him anywhere. Like the sending a message on Signal, not going to get anywhere. Tagging him on Twitter, that's not really going to get him anywhere. Sharing information like Hackamania, yeah, done solely to harass and embarrass. Yeah. Posting Aaron's search history that you got from getting into his Google Drive, yeah, that's going to be a problem for Nick to have to explain. Talking about Aaron's dick size, yeah. So anyways, they go on to posting Aaron's search history. They posted Aaron's search history via Nick's Twitter account. Aaron contends that Nick illegally obtained it and posted it for the purpose of humiliating Aaron, which, yeah. Both parties acknowledge that Nick had access to Aaron's Google account. However, Nick asserts that he obtained the search history via someone anonymously, which, once again, this is where that tells you Nick knows he's not in a position where he could say he did it. Because if he knew it didn't matter that he did it, he'd say, yes, I fucking did it, and yes, I had it. He has to play these games of, oh, I got it anonymously, because he knows if he admits to it, he's fucked. Nick also admitted to posting the search history, claiming he did not know who the search history belonged to. But once again, this is where Nick, trying to be cute in court. Well, why would you post it if you didn't know who it was? Just some random person's porn search history? Well, I think it's funny and weird, but it's not. It's not unless there's a reason to it. That's where I'm sure you didn't convince a judge of that. I'm sure the judge did not see it your way. Nick further admitted to leaving the search history on his Twitter account after discovering Aaron claimed ownership of it. Nick thought his conduct was hilarious. And throughout his testimony, Aaron made it clear that it caused a great deal of embarrassment. Yeah, I'm sure it did, but also, this is one thing I wonder if Aaron's or Nick's attorney is going to be like, everything Aaron does is embarrassing to Aaron. That is one argument you might make. Like, Aaron is a gaffe machine. Aaron is he's a factory of embarrassing things. You might make that argument. I don't know if they will. Public discussion of Aaron's genitals. Nick responded during an online podcast, which he shared a story regarding Aaron's penis. Aaron never consented to Nick sharing information about his genitalia and never testified he never discussed disseminating information about his wiener to other people. Nick testified he was asked to talk about Aaron's nudity and decided it was an invitation for him to discuss the situation he had with Aaron regarding his penis. Yeah, and that's where Nick's like, well, I felt like I could do it. It's like, not the smartest way to answer that. During his testimony, Nick repeated that he didn't care about Aaron's feelings, nor cared about the negative impact his conduct would have on petitioner. at point you can argue if I don't care, that's not like, of course. Threats to petitioner. I think the threats, this is kind of like a non-starter. I don't think that judge is going to give a shit about that. So, telling him he should kill himself and telling him because he isn't dead yet. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Aaron said it was very ominous and very threatening. Like, I get you got to say that here, but I don't really see anything on those. Those are just like, yeah. I don't think those carry the day for Aaron if you're trying to argue this stuff. I don't think. Sweet Tooth Fairy saying, was it normal porn or prohibited porn? No, it was normal. There's not really any, like, normal porn, but it wasn't anything illegal. It wasn't like chicks blowing horses or anything illegal. It was just Aaron's like porn search history. So I hope that answers your question. Sharing Aaron's information to Hackamania. It's like just seeing the words Hackamania in a court document. It's like, okay, we're at that point in life, chat. So this goes back to the last year's Hackamania, not the one we had this year. The one with the refrigerator. Which, once again, that is just a whole nother level of fucking weird that they shipped that out. So Nick participated in an event known as Hackamania. It was held in the presence of a live audience and was streamed online for public viewing. Nick's participation included dissemination of intimate pictures of Aaron, as well as sharing private messages between Nick and Aaron. Aaron testified the images were shared with the viewing audience without his consent. And that was Nick's intent to embarrass and humiliate. Yeah, like that was totally the intent of showing Aaron without his shirt off and doing the whole, like, I'm sure Aaron would claim that's a sultry and suggestive pose. I think most, I'll leave that up to you to decide if that's the case. But Aaron had the face of a man satisfied of having just eaten some goo, clearly as he was sitting there on the bed. Aaron also testified to have his photos disseminated bothered him greatly, and then he considered the dissemination a violation of his privacy. Which, sure, you could say that. And a reasonable person would agree. But once again, does Aaron have conduct that would show that may not be an issue? And certainly Nick will respond. On June 25th, Aaron appeared at a hearing for an unrelated criminal matter in which he was the defendant. Aaron observed Nick and Patrick Melton at the hearing as well. Aaron observed that Nick acted in concert with Melton for the purpose of harassing petitioner, in which Aaron learned from video and posts that were made public prior to the hearing. Aaron testified further he was made aware of Nick and Melton's attempts to encourage other individuals to attend the June 25th hearing. I still don't think this one's going to get Aaron what he thinks because they are allowed to appear. And even though they show up and they might be acting completely melanated, you are allowed to attend a public hearing. So I don't think that's going to really get him there. Now, I do think there are some things, though, like where they go to Aaron's gym and then they go to Stoney's and they go to all the places Aaron goes. Like that stuff, yes. But showing up to court, I don't think will get you. But when you can see the going to all of Aaron's haunts just to like dab and do all of that, yeah, that could be seen as harassing, but not going to the court. Nick testified as president of the hearing was solely for the purpose to support his wife. Oh, yeah, totally. That's the case. Yeah. Yeah, who was the alleged victim of the unrelated matter. Although, it's technically related. But no, like, oh, yeah, you're totally going to support your wife. Yes. That's totally why you're there. After the conclusion of the court hearing, Nick participated in a podcast hosted by Melton called Court Breakdown, in which Aaron's court hearing was the focus of the podcast. Despite testifying, he communicates intentions with Melton to participate in the podcast, of which Aaron was the focus. Nick also testified that he was unaware of Melton's planned presence at the hearing and alleged he did not know why Melton traveled to Minnesota. Now, certainly, yes, Nick clearly knew, and this is a problem for Nick. There's no way the judge is sitting there thinking, oh, you didn't know Patrick was showing up or these people were showing up. And when you start lying or it looks like you're lying, you're being a smarmy fuck, courts don't like that. And they might just think you're a liar or might just say bullshit. So instead, they might say this X. He might say, yeah, you know what? Maybe he is telling the truth. That's why I don't understand why Nick had to fuck around with all that. Obviously he thinks if he admits that, yes, if Nick admits him and Patrick talked and planned it, that the judge wouldn't like that. Instead, if Nick had just said, yeah, we planned it, it's a public hearing, we can all go there. Part of the justice system is shaming and laughing at people. That's part of public punishment. That's part of why we have things out in the open, not only for transparency of courts, But that way the public can also see the bad men getting punished. I think there's easy answers Nick could have given there, but he didn't give them. But hey, like I said, I'm the creme brulee lawyer. Apparently, like once again, smarter than I am, supposedly. Now they talk about harassment. What is harassment? So yeah, Aaron testified that the conduct made him feel threatened, intimidated, harassed, stalked, and the conduct felt nefarious to him. Once again, I don't think that's going to get you where you think it's going to need to go. I don't think it's going to get you where it needs to go. But I can see the court going along with it. Just because, Nick acting like a complete fucking dickhead in court is not how you win over the court. So anyways, what is harassment? It is a single instance of physical or sexual assault, a single incident of harassment under other sections here. They talk about a single incident of non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. Well, we're going to get to something coming up later, and that's probably going to get defined as harassment because that happened. Repeated incidents of intrusive or unwanted acts, words, or gestures that have an adverse effect or intended to have a substantial adverse effect on the safety, security, or privacy of another. Yeah, so like this part here at the bottom is really where it's going to have to be because there was no physical or sexual assault. There was no single incident harassment under the law. That's not here. For Aaron, his non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images, I don't think that counts as that, but it's clearly private material that's being shared. So it doesn't get him here on the C part. This rest of it, this or is I think where Aaron's really going to have to focus because otherwise the rest of this doesn't support him. Now they claim the conduct satisfied it where he shared online search histories. Yeah, and Nick says, yeah, he did it. He admitted he shared the history. He claims he didn't know it was Aaron's, which I think is bullshit. He also testified he obtained the info from an anonymous source rather than his Google account. And it says the court must consider the credibility of Nick's testimony. Yeah, and I think it's clear Nick lied, and I think the court's going to not buy that bullshit either. In which he implied that he accessed Aaron's email account and contained the information without his consent during a podcast. Yeah, and once again, Nick didn't just admit it because he also realizes if I admitted that, I'd be fucked. So once again, the way Nick tried to play games tells you he also understood how serious a trouble those answers could give him. They say even if they determined Nick's testimony was credible, even if, once Nick learned of Aaron's ownership of the search history, he did not delete it. And it says, I don't care. It was very funny. I don't really think this is a very good argument because even if he learned about it later, well, it's already done. You know, deleting it, you don't really delete things off the internet. The internet's forever. The only person that's not applicable to is like Taylor Lorenz, who has somebody who works at like the Internet Archive or the Wayback Machine who has sanitized part of her history. But otherwise, I don't think this is a good argument to make. I understand you make it, but this is not the strong argument. This is actually a really bad argument, in my opinion. Nick can say all that, and once again, it's there. And they say Nick's comments only display a lack of care regarding the harm, but Aaron confirmed that Nick's conduct was humiliating and embarrassing for him. Okay, well, but once again, even if Nick took it down, it screenshotted it out there. And what? At that point, you're like, oh, well, he tried to take it down. I don't see how that makes anything better. And they say such careless conduct, well, the impact it has unequally intrusive, unwarranted, and adverse effect on Aaron's security and privacy. Thus, it satisfies the definition of harassment. Like I said, it does up top, but if you're arguing that he did it, I don't know. No. Not at all. What are you guys talking about fucking pies for? Sweet Tooth is saying they went after Aaron for the same thing when he shared Caleb's pics. Yeah, but Aaron, like that was not what they shared of Aaron's would not qualify under Minnesota law or probably any real state laws of a private non-consensual image that's intimate that qualifies under like the revenge porn statutes. That's this wouldn't qualify for that. It's more in just the personal sense and the privacy sense. It's not like a statutory, like they committed a crime. They were just assholes, and that's part of what that harassment is covering there. So it's not meant to cover like a law issue, if that's what you were concerned about. Oh, don't ask. Don't ask. I don't want to ask. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And they say undoubtedly, when Nick talked about Aaron's penis was public, they were accessible to a wide audience. It was undoubtedly presented to embarrass, ridicule, and degrade Aaron. Well, yes, you don't normally talk about another man's cock in an effort to make them sound awesome. Like, let me tell you about this guy's penis. What a penis. That thing is like a baby's arm holding an apple. Like, it's a cock for the ages. No, nobody ever does that for that. Like, a woman might, but generally speaking, another man's not talking about another man's dick to flatter him. Nick testified that he and Aaron had an agreement not to disclose such scenarios that could occur between him and Aaron. They had a pact. They had a pact. It was penis detente. And they were like, I promise not to talk about your cock. You promise not to talk about my cock. And it was just like, it was, this really doesn't help defend the story that these guys are not homosexuals. And this wasn't like gay Vietnam. And they're just staring each other down. Nick's testimony on the subject seemed to imply he had a right to discuss it because Aaron allegedly shared private information about Nick. This suggests a tit for tat mindset. Well, it also suggests that at some point that, Nick was doing this as justification, which, depending on what Nick said, and we don't have the transcript, may, like, on its face, may, like, okay, well, yeah. And it's not like, I don't think Nick is saying just solely what Aaron did to Kayla is triggering this, but he said other things, and Nick's like, well, I'm going to talk about his cock now. Maybe there is enough there to say that's reasonable. It doesn't say yet. The court should take note that Nick's allegations that Aaron shared private information about him, Nick failed to provide the evidence corroborating this. I mean, his testimony is evidence, and I heard Aaron say X. I mean, although if they're going to say he said it on a stream, yeah, I guess there is a corroboration here, but I don't know. Like, once again, I don't know. We don't know what's presented as evidence. That's kind of one thing that sucks. We have not seen an exhibit list or whatever. The credibility of Nick's assertions should be taken with a grain of salt, as he had nearly a year to gather information to support his assertions, yet failed to do so. That is a very strong point. Even if Nick's assertions are not true, his repeated testimony of I don't care about Aaron's feelings demonstrate intent to harm Aaron and have an adverse effect on his privacy. It could also just mean he just doesn't give a fuck about it. Like, it's not an intent to harm. It's just, I don't care what happens to him. You might, and if he's going to argue being reckless about it or careless about it, it's like, Further, the conduct itself would constitute an unwarranted act, as publicly sharing one's alleged insecurities about their penis without consent is a socially considered a very private matter. Yes, very private indeed. Very private indeed. Through his testimony, Aaron clearly expressed the embarrassed respondent's conduct caused him, as well as the impact Nick's conduct had on Aaron's privacy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd argue the whole like eating goo thing and all that were really bad too. Like, was there anything that happened out of this that was really good for Aaron's privacy? I mean, the past like 2.5 years have been really bad for Aaron's privacy. The threatening messages via social media. Yeah, once again, that's not really going to get you where I think you need to go. I don't think that's really once again, I don't think so. I don't think so. And because he isn't dead yet, once again, the social media stuff, I don't think is going to get really any mileage, even out of this judge. Even if he thought, oh, Nick's just being a big fucking asshole. He's like, I don't see it. And I personally don't think it's that important. So does Aaron like movies about gladiators? Oh, I'm sure he does. The judge is going to order them to go out for mocha frappuccinos. I still think the judge needs to take him down the hallway, take him to a broom closet, go, here you guys go. You got 7 minutes. Work it out between yourselves. Give him one last time. Give him 7 more minutes in heaven. And let him work it out. Although, honestly, you could just like lock the key and forever and never let anybody out too. That wouldn't be a bad idea. They go back to talking about the Hackamania event, and once again, sharing the photos without Aaron's consent. One of them is Aaron with his shirt off. Now, this is where I think if Brian was going to respond to this, he would have said, Aaron with his shirt off is not, because that could just mean his shirt's off. Like Camelot doing Naked Snake. No, he was without a shirt in bed under the covers in a very, sexually suggestive pose. Although that also makes it sound like Aaron's like on the bed doggy style looking over his shoulder or something. But I think you could explain this a little better. Although to be fair, the judge has seen it. He understands what they're talking about. Regardless of the appropriate nature of the photo, Aaron testified he's embarrassed by the public showing of his private photos and made it clear that Nick shared his information publicly without Aaron's consent. It is also unclear how Nick acquired the information because, yes, once again, I think this is a photo out of Aaron's Google, which, once again, how did Nick get access to that? Per Aaron's testimony, the other images were acquired were private, never meant for public consumption. Nick's conduct in displaying it clearly demonstrates an intent to harass. And as providing Nick's testimony, the Hackamania event's focus and purpose is making fun of Aaron. I mean, they might argue it's not, but literally, like, the flagship event was all about Aaron. The keynote event or whatever they want to call it is this little piggy. They flew Nick out. They brought the fridge along. And, I think it's funny because they claim Aaron, they bring Aaron's like high school guy who knew him, who's also in radio and is kind of like Aaron if Aaron had stayed in and hadn't completely fucked up. So he's some goober in, middle of nowhere fucking Minnesota running dead radio as well. Yeah, that actually does look pretty bad in my opinion. And it says, well, making fun of somebody publicly may not constitute harassment. True. Stealing. Wait, hold on. Did we even skip a page? Oh, where the hell did page 11 go? What the fuck? I had it. Oh, hold on, chat. I'm gonna have to go grab it real quick then. I thought it uploaded in here properly, but hey, we'll see. Hold on, guys. Live TV. He'll have to accept me fumbling on that one. Okay, here we go. Stealing someone's private information and publicly sharing it without the targeted individual's consent does constitute harassment. Yeah, but yeah. The conduct satisfies the definition of harassment, yes. And it says that, once again, harassing Aaron when he was at his hearings. I don't think that's going to get you anywhere because he's allowed to be there. The only thing that hurts is Nick made a claim he didn't know that Melton would be present at the hearings or in Minnesota, and he says that's ludicrous. Nick attempted to evade questions meant to demonstrate that he and Melton had planned to make the hearing there. And once again, if it's not that big a deal, why would you lie about it? Why don't you say, yeah, me and this guy came to a hearing. It's public. We're allowed to be there. And yeah, maybe we were going to mock him and shame him and he feels embarrassed. Good. That should be an answer. That's part of justice. Why wouldn't you just say that? That's a, what would have happened? If I'm Aaron's attorney, I'd have been like, well, shit, that's a good fucking answer. But for some reason, Nick didn't offer that. Instead, play goobery word games instead of just saying, yeah, we're allowed to do that. It's a public hearing. And hopefully Melton hammers on that. I'm allowed to be there. It's a public hearing. I'm a public party. It's a public hearing. I'm a member of the public. I'm allowed to be there. I can show up anywhere I want in the country and it's a newsworthy event. Newsworthy doesn't have to be like known around the world. It could just be an interest to me of that second. I don't know why Nick didn't do that, but for some reason he's making it. Will this be a lack of candor? No. It's a little different when you're, in this situation here. No, but yes, he clearly fucking lied. But I don't know why you would lie. Just say, yeah, we were going to fucking embarrass him. And good. I hope it was fucking embarrassing for what he did to my wife. That's all you have to say. And you know what? Judge would be like, okay, yeah, you know what? You might say, seems like a bit much, but I get it. And this would not be a good one for Aaron, but Nick fucking lying helps a lot. It says Aaron's exhibit seems to indicate the contrary as Nick's words and demeanor suggest he knew Melton would be present. and planned on participating in Melton's podcast well before the hearing dates. It's also reasonable to assume that Nick acted in concert with Melton to harass, as Nick's wife was the alleged victim of the crime, and Nick demonstrated a tit-for-tat mindset against Aaron during his testimony. And once again, Brian here says the thing like, Nick, why didn't you just say that? That probably would have done a lot to help your case here and really damage Aaron, but you didn't bring it up, which I still could have brought it up, and it would have been very helpful. I think it would have been very, very helpful. Would have been super helpful. Did my camera just go out? Oh. Hold on, chat. My fucking camera just died. All right. That's great. Okay. Hold on, guys. I don't know why it's been doing this now. It's been doing this now for a while, and I don't get why it's doing it. So, we'll have to switch this out to the... I got to switch this out and let the virtual camera run. And then for some reason, I have to restart it. My camera's under attack, and I don't get why it does it. It's the weirdest thing ever. And it doesn't tell you why it's doing it. And nothing's explained it to me right. It's just saying it sucks. Yes, I mean copia maxing. Thank you. There we go. See, chat, I'm back. All right, so we did page 11. We're moving back to page 12. So they say Mr. Melton's plan was successful as per Aaron's testimony. Their conduct was perceived to be nefarious. I mean, was it really nefarious? Aaron felt threatened, intimidated, harassed, and stalked. Once again, did you really? I mean, if Nick Rekieta and Patrick Melton make you feel threatened, intimidated, harassed, and stalked, I guess that's something. It's kind of like Destiny. You're having to admit, no, I didn't. I wasn't texting a 17-year-old girl. I was actually getting catfished by one of my viewers. And as Destiny points out, now was masturbating for one of his male viewers. If that's what you have to do to keep your ass out of a sling, I guess. But is that really the win you want? And this one here, you're claiming that, you were intimidated by Nick Rekieta and Patrick fucking Melton. It's like, that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do, I guess. Don't worry, Dr. Steve can write my camera a note. That would be funny. So he's basically saying we should get it granted. And like I said, I don't know. We'll have to see the arguments raised. If they even get raised, because the judge could still say, you know what? I thought about it. Nope, not good. But we don't have an answer right now. We don't have an answer to any of that. And we'll have to see. But the new developments chat, are kind of interesting. So what did we see? Here? Well, some stuff happened. Here. And it's really interesting. So over the course of in June, at the end of June, some stuff got filed we didn't know about. And it just dropped this week. And this stuff is now the other party of the cover that's still involved in this world. Kayla has filed a harassment order against Aaron. And these ones came and nobody talked about them, which Aaron didn't mention anything about this stuff, although it sounds like he took a while to get served. But Nick didn't say shit about this, which is really impressive because Nick likes to be a chatty fucking Kathy. So as this came out here, so Kayla comes out and all the basic information here and all this, not really too worried about, what does she want the protection order for? Well, she wants it for, first of all, she's requesting all of this. She's also requesting it for her children. Now, guys, you might see that and say, wait, why are there 4 kids? They have 5. Remember, one of their children turned 18. So I guess in Minnesota, you can't ask they be included. I'm surprised they wouldn't let you just, additional family members, but okay. Now, notice they point out, who are the relationships between these people, responding the people who need protection. None of those apply. It says former friend. So they were friends? I thought they were How can we be lovers if we can't be friends? It's like, or just like the song goes, more than just a friend. I guess. Now, this is where they say how many restraining orders have been in effect ordering Aaron to stay away from you. And they say 2 or more. And then you might say, wait, there aren't restraining orders. There's no contact orders. Yes. And we'll get to the math on why they're doing that. But they're not restraining orders in the sense of like this restraining order. They're arguing the protection orders count as restraining orders, which, okay, we'll see how this works here. Now, what do they talk about here? Well, this is where we start seeing things that are written down. And you can tell somebody wrote this, and it probably wasn't Kayla Ricada. And it says, no civil restraining orders exist. However, respondent was under release conditions for violations of Minnesota statutes against Kayla. Those releases contained a protective order. Aaron violated those conditions on multiple occasions. Aaron pled guilty and his sentence included another protective order. They're asking the court to find these conditions of probation as 2 prior restraining orders for the purpose of this petition. So they're asking the court to consider it. Now, there's no citations cited attached to this. Maybe there's case law for that. I don't know the answer to that. And that's something I would really defer to a Minnesota attorney. Could that happen? Sure. From what I know, and like Ohio, that wouldn't work. But maybe it would in Minnesota. Who knows? We don't know. Do you have a current harassment restraining order or order for protection against you? No. And that's always important because if you have one and you're trying to go the other way, they don't let you do that. They say the following cases involve me and Aaron in issues of child custody or parenting time. It's when they want to make sure parents aren't fucking with each other, or if they do, that they're limited and these curtail and are shaped around other existing court orders. So the acts of harassment, what happened? Well, did Aaron physically or sexually assault Kayla? No. He has follow monitored or pursued her? No. That Aaron made uninvited visits to Kayla? No. Made harassing phone calls or sent harassing text messages as follows? No. Now, keep this in mind here because we're going to see some stuff. Defendant made or Aaron made threats as follows. Aaron has made from April Fool's Day of 2024 to the present, meaning right now. Aaron has made and repeated threats for over 2 years. Has he made threats for over 2 years? I mean, like maybe during the first part of it, but I get it. You're trying to sell this a little bit here, Nick. Or disclose embarrassing facts or fictions about Kayla if she didn't comply with some manner of behavior that he deemed appropriate. Like what? Aaron has used Kayla and her family's privacy, safety, and security as a constant menacing threat, cause further harm or distress. Aaron knows, as Kayla pleaded with him, citations, that privacy is the utmost concern to her. I mean, I guess getting arrested and fucking indicted wasn't a good idea then. Just saying. Aaron specifically acknowledged this in text messages with Kayla and utilized that knowledge to threaten and terrorize her for over 2 years. So it's been still ongoing. We haven't gone to the court about this for his probation. So, I mean, because it all stopped, right? I thought it all stopped. Isn't that part of the argument? It all stopped. Well, did it or did it not? Did Aaron has not frightened her with threatening behavior, which, it's like you're saying all this stuff here and it's threatening and scaring, but then you're like, not threatening and scaring. Respondent broke in and entered victim's residence, didn't happen. Damaged property, stole property. Took pictures of the victim without permission as follows. Now we're getting to this funny argument again of this was a non-consensual picture. But from what we know, Kayla was like staring at the camera and was smiling at the camera. So is she like too retired to know, oh, what did this thing do? Or is she like an Indian? It's like, this box steals my soul. Like, no, she knew it was a fucking picture. I get Nick doesn't want to have to admit that like Kayla posed for a picture for Aaron. That probably really hurts his idiot really bad. That doesn't make what Aaron did legal in the sense of sharing the picture with Gino. But this narrative about it being an unconsensual or non-consensual, like the image being taken, Nick doesn't even know what it was. Remember, Nick had to give the police a bunch of like naked pictures of his wife for them to figure out, no, those aren't the ones that we have, or that, that was seen. Like, we don't have it. So, like, how does he know? How do you know? How do you know it was not consensual if you don't know which one it was? But anyways, they say that on January 31st, 2024, Aaron took a picture of Kayla while live on the air. This link is a video clip of him taking the picture and also a discussion of taking the picture. Yeah. Okay. As discussed below, Aaron would go on to unlawfully disseminate and describe, which he did. He shared it on a live broadcast with Gino Biscani, who appeared on the live broadcast. Responded publicly, commented, identifying information about petitioner associated with the photograph. Aaron and Gino exchanged commentary demeaning about the photo. I mean, they did. And then Kayla did not consent to this photograph being taken. Based on what Keanu and Gino have said, that was not the case. Like, she didn't consent, so she wasn't like staring at the camera and smiling. Like, what did she think was happening? I guess I don't. That once again, you don't have to like. You can like, it's not a kill. Like, that doesn't kill you, Nick. I guess psychologically in yourself it kills you, but that doesn't kill any of the other claims. Just to admit, yeah, she posted her picture and then he abused the ability to have that picture and shared it. Like, those both can be there, and him sharing the picture is still illegal and wrong. I don't understand this argument of this head fiction, this head canon we have to create. She didn't consent to the photo being distributed to Gino. Yeah, I don't disagree. The public nature of the sharing, along with the discussion, has subjected Kayla to extreme, persistent, and disgusting comments, has eventually damaged her reputation. I'm betting the getting arrested, your children being taken away from you, finding out that you were a serious drug addict, and that, like, all of that is far more damaging to you than a radio show, or not a radio show, a show on the internet that, once again, we hear from the Dabbleverse that nobody fucking watches and is view botted and full of fake super chats and everything. That's far more damaging to Kayla than, like, getting out in your community for neglecting your children so bad they were taken out of the home and living in a crack shack, basically. Where it's so dirty and disgusting the cops can't even keep looking through it. No. None of that was embarrassing. None of that was humiliating. Having your arraignments broadcasted on the internet and being in the news, that wasn't damaging your reputation. It's this Aaron thing. Because, you everywhere you go, everybody's like, that's the guy Steele told. No, nobody does that. No one does that. They go, that's the lady who did cocaine and her kids got taken away from. That's what they're saying. That this is not what damaged your reputation. There's harassment, sure. You can argue that, but damaging your reputation, come on now. Like, we know it's not. Like, this is just... did they use her personal info to invite or solicit a third party? No. More than once, done acts to meet the elected edge of targeted residential picking. None, like, there's so many things you do here, but they can use social media, harass the victim. And it says, once again, from then till today. Really? From then till today? If it's happening then till today, why aren't we going to the probation department? Kind of like, it should be easy. In addition to all of this, Aaron has spent over 2 years harassing Kayla by making private facts public, with foreknowledge that Kayla wished those facts remain private. Like, well, which facts? If they've already been out there. Pleaded with Aaron to stop discussion of her private life, including statements about her private sex life, often in lurid detail. Okay, well, which ones? Like, other than that, like, is there more? Like, which things specifically? When Kayla requested Aaron stop speaking about her, he acknowledged that any discussion, positive or negative, was harmful to her, and said he would stop. This was on 5/6/2024. One day before he would disseminate the private, intimate image without her consent. During the pendency of this case, Aaron was placed under release conditions. Yes, and he did fuck those up. All of which were a direct connection to social media platforms. Aaron continues to push the limits of the protective order, including displaying images of Kayla on a recent broadcast. Well, once again, you're sorry your plans on trying to jerk him over didn't really work there. So recently, Aaron indicated he believed his probation would be ending imminently, and he was excited and could not wait to go on shows with guest Kayla, despite stating to the court he would never want to speak about her again. Aaron frequently makes false and demeaning statements about Kayla's minor children. I don't recall what he said there. Particularly as an attention to blank. Respondents repeatedly accused his child of ingesting cocaine and even suggested she might murder him. Well, Children's Services accused this child of ingesting cocaine. Two. I mean, like, let's just get that out there. It's interesting we don't include that part. To be clear, respondents suggested a minor child was a cocaine user. No, it's just the child was exposed to cocaine per the reports from Children's Services, who may want to murder him. I don't recall that part. That just seems a little weird, but hey, whatever. I'm sure Carl and all you fucking weirdos out there have got this all indexed and correlated. If it's out there, then fine, he said it. Blank has never ingested cocaine or any non-prescriptive narcotic. Not according to Children's Services. Respondent continues to suggest she has issues related to cocaine use and other false, humiliating, and vile claims. Well, I mean, have fun explaining those away. This is fueled by the court's imposition on his ability to openly humiliate Kayla. And here, this is... Kayla has been subject to public ridicule, yes, from her own actions, disgusting rumor from her own actions, and daily abuse at the hands of Aaron for more than 2 years. That without Aaron, this was still happening anyway. Kayla's sexual morality is subjected to public ridicule because Aaron made her his victim and made her reputation and public image his doormat. Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with you guys going to hedonism too, engaging in the cover, doing your polycule. No, it's just Aaron. Come on, Nick. Buddy, you're overselling this too much, man. You're overselling this way too much. The volume of vile and often false and otherwise private statements made by Aaron about Kayla is hard to tabulate. Well, really, you can't chart them out? Okay. But the effects is subjected her to tens of thousands of derogatory and demeaning comments about the most private matters in her life. I'm sure that you've gotten more of those because of all the people covering it everywhere else. Like, let's be real. Come on now. Aaron has reportedly, even post-conviction following a guilty plea, suggested that he was the victim in the scenario and has made Kayla out to be his villain. Very easily could be. Who knows? Kayla's privacy has been utterly erased by Aaron. Yeah, you totally didn't do any of this yourself. And your brilliant husband totally didn't just fucking light your world on fire. No, totally he didn't do that. He definitely didn't do that. Like, okay. Oh, I mean, like, the whole hedonism thing happened before even the polycule happened. Like, come on now. The vile, obscene nature of his action and comments of public vitriol that had produced have put her safety and security into non-existence. Her safety? What? Is she worried like some Somali guys are going to be like, look, there is the whore. We shall stone her. Like, come on now. Including having her minor children stalked by a dedicated fan of Aaron's show and Aaron's mirthful response to her suffering. I'm sure a lot of people look at you and giggle at you and follow you around. Like, I mean, are we talking about the guy who caught Nick walking out, you guys walking out with Nick with a bottle of Galaxy gas? I mean, is that what we're talking about here? Like, it's not very descriptive, but okay. Aaron is aware of Kayla's desire for privacy and anxiety about public interactions. I mean, does that include when you went out to, like, Stoney's and you were having a fucking joke and a smoke afterwards? Or you went to Aaron's boxing gym? I mean, yeah, I know he went to jail that day, but, like, I mean, I saw we see the pictures of you with Nick at Stoney's. Like, you're having a joke and a smoke. There was no anxiety there. Even though that's the place where, like, they kicked you out of and they all probably recognize who you were. So it's like, I guess good for you, I guess. There, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, Chad. I'm just thinking out loud. He does not care. On June 26th, Aaron took out an ex parte restraining order against Kayla's husband, knowing that her husband was her victim support in his criminal case. Oh, I'm sure he's the strongest, most supporting person in the world. Like, yes, not at all. Like, hurry up. April's waiting on me. Hurry. April's waiting at the spare house. I gotta go. After doing so, hold on. We gotta go. After doing so, Aaron petitioned the court to attempt to prevent her husband from attending a sentencing hearing to prevent his victim from having support. As she read her victim impact statement, the court did not grant this request, but Aaron shows a remorseless, callous view of that Kayla has put her safety, security, and privacy at risk for over 2 years. Okay. Well, do you believe it continue? Yes, he's used a social media platform and private business to harass and bully women. Years prior, he led an open campaign of harassment against a female radio host by making defamatory and abusive statements persistently until the radio station he worked for publicly, he worked for publicly, fired him. Yes, Aaron used to actually be on the radio, and then he started like fucking with another radio station, and the chick that was on it that was like opposite him, and like going full fucking retard, went full gay ops on her, and he got fired. So that's why Aaron's not back on the radio. Like, that damaged him really bad. That is a thing Aaron did. His first wife, Blank, had to get a restraining order against him for his violent commentary. He would go on to be criminally convicted for violating a restraining order. His second wife, April, has been subjected to similar harassment and has mocked his own documented physical abuse. Of like, okay, yes, once again, she would have learned something. Yeah. Once again, I'm not. Yeah, I know. Aaron, bad man. He respectfully his probation would end and he could discuss the situation again openly. Yeah. On broadcast he knows or expects will speak negatively about Kayla. I'm sure those people will speak negatively about Kayla without Aaron being present. Like, trust me, like you're not like Aaron's not that critical to it. He has reportedly stated he was a victim of Kayla's bullshit claim and he could easily win a trial. He might have been able to. But once again, trusting that Gino and Keanu weren't going to show up and fuck him over was a very dangerous gamble. So taking the plea is probably a smart option. Despite making statements under oath that he was in fact guilty of the criminal act. Yeah, I mean, okay. He went so far as to suggest a female prosecutor as an unethical personal animus as a woke feminist, and that was how he was convicted. I think that certainly factored into it. Let's not act like it wasn't. I mean, yeah. Kayla is terrified of his malignant, vindictive, and disgusting campaign against her and her children. Broadcaster Alex Stein reported after a recent dinner engagement with Aaron that Aaron openly hated Kayla, calling her manipulative and evil. Okay. He didn't say it on the air. He said it to someone who was talking to them. Like, is he like, he can't say any bad words about you ever? I mean, Jesus, if Alex Stein said it, Aaron didn't tell him to do it. Like, let's be a little real here. Seemingly any woman that is in Aaron's way becomes his victim, and he's relentless and ruthless. Okay. Finally, Kayla is fearful that Aaron will turn his repeated abuse on all of her minor children. The court only orders protection for her. Okay, yeah, I'm totally sure. So what does she want it for? Me, my minor children, no contact with us, stay away from where we live. Well, that's an easy one. A reasonable distance, 1 mile. 1 mile. Okay, Nick. Why don't you just say 1,000 miles? They also want a prohibition on direct or indirect mentions of Kayla or minor children, this order, or any other judicial proceedings involving Kayla on any social media platform. Where are the free speech warriors that were upset about Nick? That's interesting. That's interesting. Can't talk about the order or judicial proceedings. Like, wow. Swinging for the fences there. Given the extensive documenting of social media platforms abuse and harass Kayla as well as other women, his desire to freely abuse Kayla when his probation is lifted, his many violation of protective orders, blah, 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 full protection, including protection in the channels He has used to criminally and civilly offend for years. This is all fucking written by Nick. This is Nick writing this, and it's funny because this is probably like in Cromwell, where he walks up to Kayla, she's just sitting there. It's like, sign this. She's like, but I didn't write this. Sign it! I'm sure he looked at her, shaking with his pen. Sign it! He clambers to take another vape. She says, I'm not requesting a court hearing, but she says, if I don't get it, I want one. I want up to 50 years. Now, she claims I have 2 or more prior restraining orders. Yeah, once again, I don't think it's going to count, but maybe it does under Minnesota law. It sounds like they could have cited something that probably would have. So, and then Aaron has violated a prior existing restraining order between us on 2 or more occasions. Once again, I don't think this is 50 years is kind of like, yeah, I don't think you're going to get that. Do I think she's probably going to get something out of it? Sure. It's 100% Ian. Being a white woman and white women's tears, they are the most powerful things in a courtroom. Don't let anybody kid you otherwise. Signed by Kayla, but it's like, yeah, oh yeah, she totally wrote this. She totally wrote this herself, guys. So anyway, they got notified that, actually, hold on, we need to go to the top because this is the petition for it. So she goes through all this and she wants it done. And then what happened? Well, initially for one of these against Aaron, the court denied the ex parte harassment order. Okay, why? Well, they said Aaron's on probation and there's the conditions are shut up and stay away. And it says there are over 3 months remaining on Aaron's probation, which I don't know if there's, like Aaron says he's almost done, but I think it's probably going to run the course of a couple more months. So that's going to happen here. And the judge denied it. So, okay. And it's set for a hearing. What date's the hearing here? What date? Getting the end here. So, yeah, on July 6th, Aaron was served. And that's the thing. Everybody was quiet about this for a couple of days, which is kind of interesting. Moving on from there, Kayla did get hers against the Steel Toe Media Company, which it's like, I don't know if the judge kind of didn't understand this, but Aaron is Steel Toe Media. It's not like there's 500 people that work there. But the order granting the petition for the HRO was granted in this one. So the ex parte got granted here. It's like, how did that work? But hey, I don't know. 1 year for every dollar unit of a KNU. Yeah, well. So they go in here and, they go through all this. So they talk about disseminating the private images. Once again, it's literally the same one that came about before. They just switch it up. So what do they say? This covers Kayla and the minor children and that Aaron used social media. So what Aaron can't do, he should have no direct or indirect contact with Kayla or Kayla's kids, including any visits or phone calls, conducted via electronic means of social network. And also, ultimately, this is granted out of Kandiyohi County. So I would be careful if I was Aaron, because if Aaron tried to do this part here like Nick did, and he can say whatever the fuck he wants, because he's also not coming to him, I have the feeling Kandiyohi County will put a fucking warrant out for him and have him arrested. So, Aaron, I would not do that if I were you. Apart from being 1 mile of Nick's home, which I don't know from looking at it, if there like a major thoroughfare that might be used from around Nick's house. That's the only thing I could think of why they're asking for a mile, is meant to fuck up where they live so Aaron can't drive by. But other than that, the mile is just kind of goobery. Like, that's just okay, fine, here's your mile. But no, I'm looking at, there's no obvious road route that, I'm looking here. I don't see from St. Cloud to go to anyone. Aaron can get around it. I was wondering if there was a highway or interstate that went there. Aaron should just devolve Steel Toe and make a new company. Yeah. Yeah, that would be very funny. This restraining order is effective until a later court date. which is, and that's where we have it, July 20th, 2026. Hearing be held July 20th at 9 a.m. This part's kind of there. And they point out that this hearing is scheduled. If you don't appear, it could be dismissed. They point out here how this works, and this is something, if we didn't see it before, we're going to go over it. Violations of restraining order may be treated as a misdemeanor, gross misdemeanor, or a felony. Misdemeanors can result in a sentence of 90 days in jail and up to a $1,000 fine. Repeat violations may result up to 364 days in jail, a $3,000 fine. Other violations are felonies. You can get up to 5 years in prison or a $10,000 fine. And if you engage in a pattern of harassing conduct, you're guilty of a felony, and you could be sentenced to up to 10 years and a $20,000 fine. Pretty stiff, pretty serious. Shows they mean business. Because of this, getting to hear, this is being set for July 20th, 9 a.m. remote hearing. Okay. Now, guys, this is similar here. A judicial officer, that's not a judge. A judicial officer is a hearing officer. You might call him a magistrate, depending on where you are. That is somebody the court has hired to hear these, and they handle other matters. So this is somebody who's not the judge, but they will hear it. Now, I wonder if there's a way they could consent or petition to have one of the judges hear it. Maybe they can. If they can, maybe they want that. If I'm Aaron and his attorney, given how this last one went, they might want that. They might want that. Just keep this from this being another year. Now, what happened from here? Also, guys, this is all just further notifications. This also got attached, and it was, we're unable to provide a requested service. And what happened here was your documents being returned. Judicial officers cannot review ex parte communications or information that's not provided to everybody. Now, what happened when Kayla submitted all of this? Well, she said, and this is, honestly, guys, this is what you do if you need a continuance in a court and you're representing yourself. You shouldn't if you can avoid it. But you write to the court and you just write it as a letter saying, Your Honor, I have a hearing scheduled for July 20th in 2 different cases. I'm seeking legal counsel from a guy named Griffin, I don't know, Leach, I don't know, with a law firm known as Anderson Larson. Notice they're not using the fucking Barnes Walkers. I guess Kayla realized those guys fucking suck. Or somebody else did and realized they sucked and went another route. Like, wow. And, I will say, Kayla, you made a good decision. Patrick Melton, take note of this option. Get a new lawyer, buddy. Get a new lawyer. I highly recommend it. But my attorney has a mediation scheduled that day. And yeah, they can't just quit that to come over here. I'm requesting a brief continuance from the court so I may be represented by counsel at this hearing. Thank you. I would ask, why didn't you get this done ahead of time? But, I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't just get that done ahead of time. Now, maybe the attorney said, hey, look, just file the order, because if you pay me to do it, it's going to cost you X. You save some money, file it yourself. But you think that guy would have jumped in right away as soon as it got filed and said, oh, by the way, I'm appearing on behalf of my client. I need to continue this out. But it sounds like that hasn't been established yet because, Mr. Green, even though there's green here and green here for Griffin, Mr. Green has not showed up to his office yet. So for some reason, he hadn't been paid yet. I swear everything in this document is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Once again, Nick, congratulations on helping your wife write a continuance letter. Good job. That was actually correct. No crying about a Frank's motion or fucking watermarks. Good job. Now, what happened also on the 16th? So that happened today. It doesn't show, at least I'm assuming he did it for the other case, but we only see the one case here. There's a 431 and 432 because one's against Aaron, one's against Steel Toe. I'm assuming that he's appeared on both cases. But Aaron's attorney, he has Brian Johnson appearing on his behalf here. So we've got a whole new set of HROs, chat. They're not going away. And honestly, God, we probably do have another year of content with these guys. So, yeah, Brad, it's up to avoid payment. But even then, at this point, it doesn't sound like she got him ready because it doesn't sound like that guy's appeared. Because if the attorney had appeared already, I'm sure, because once again, Nick is feeding all this out there to the Dabblefers. They would have brought up, look, we've got a lawyer, and our lawyer's going to kick, Aaron's lawyer's ass. And that hasn't happened yet. And this has been filed for a while now. So what's going on? Yeah. Swim Tim says the motion's so bad. It's not bad. I think it's overly theatrical in spots, and a lot of things are probably unnecessary, but does it meet the requirements? Yeah, it gets them across the finish line. When you're getting an ex parte motion, like you stayed enough, and they got enough in that one. It is a little weird. The one for Aaron wasn't good, but the one for Steel Toe was good. Like it's just weird because they got submitted at the exact same time too, and the judge looked at him at the exact same time. But no, it's far from bad. It works. These are motions people could generally do on their own, and it's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's Nick. So what is easy for the normal person is probably monumental for him. It's very embellished, yeah. T-Rex says, I'm confused. So Steel Toe has a TRO, but Aaron doesn't, but they're one and the same. I mean, yeah, at this point, I mean, let's say theoretically there wasn't one against Aaron, but there's one against just Steel Toe Media. Aaron doing all the stuff on behalf of Steel Toe Media. It's really fucking dumb. I'm sure Nick has got some sort of master legal strategy behind this. I don't know. Do they think if they can get an HRO against this, they can then sue Steel Toe as well as Aaron and then take all of Aaron's assets? Like, are they going to take his, like, that old shitty fucking Steel Toe sign with the barbed wire on it? Are they, we're going to take all your Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. I can't do it the way he does it, but are they going to take all of that? Are they going to take Aaron's little fucking, like, dry erase board? Are they going to take his better Steel Toe side? Are they going to take Johnny's, like, little fucking egg chair he sits in? Is like, well, I think that's at his house. But they're going to take Johnny's chair so Johnny can't sit down. He's got to stand up on his crutches the whole time. Like, I don't know what they think they're going to do here. I don't know what they think they're going to do. I'm sure Nick, like, he's probably got a brilliant legal strategy. This just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, they'll take the twister mat. Yes. They will. I just, overall, though, it works, but I just, like, there's a lot. You just read through it. You're just like, okay, this is, like, okay, you guys are just cranking it. Like, nobody fucking cares. Like, proof needed, citation needed. Okay, like, just completely ridiculous. Noser says, can Aaron travel within the 1 mile capacity is not for work for the show? No. That would be really stupid to play any of those games. No. I mean, especially Aaron's a one-man LLC. He's a sole proprietor. That's the way it's treated under tax law when you're a one-man LLC. If you do S-Corps and all that, separate matter. But, like, when you're a one-man LLC, and I don't know if Steel Toe Media is an LLC technically, he is Steel Toe Media. So, no, you wouldn't want to do that. It'd be really fucking stupid. Be really fucking stupid. If he did that, you get what's coming to you. So I would not do that. Incoming stream saying I'm fat and wrong. Sure. Okay. Well, whatever. Is the judge saying come back in months when Aaron's probation's over and I'll grant the TRO against Aaron too? He's not necessarily saying that, but he's just saying, like, if you're worried about it, they're not going to grant it now and just let him overlap. But if you came in, like, right at the end of it happening, like, I've helped clients get these before where, like, probation's ending and we get the TRO filed, like, the week probation ends and they get continued on. And that's something you do. I mean, because you don't really want, if you really have concerns about that and then there's a gap in time, well, that person can go buck wild until you get the second thing going. So if you can eliminate that gap, you want to try. But the problem is, like, you can't go like all the way back here and run it because the court's like, that's just a waste of resources and time. Aaron had employees previously. Really? He made enough fucking money to have employees? And I'm not even talking about like Johnny or the other people he's had on before, but like he actually had fucking employees? Like he made that much money? Wow. Wow. Did I see Rekida's rush motion from today? No, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I just don't know. That is new information to me, man. I've been working on doing other stuff. Yeah, I don't know any. Yeah, so hold on here. Okay, I see this. Okay, so Scarebro cited this and retweet. Well, he screenshot it. Okay, so what is this? This is once again from Go There, It's So Bad. Well, yeah, well, here we go. Okay. New document filed, notice of motion dismissed. I mean, yeah, we kind of thought that was going to happen. Nick Rekida's affidavit in support. Jeez. Memorandum of law in support of responsive motion. All three documents ready July 15th. Nick is asking for the court to decline to accept Aaron's briefing. Like, once again, I think that's perfectly logical and reasonable to say, saying the 1 week extension is granted and to dismiss the action on the merits. Yeah, I think that would be fair to ask for that. Like, that's not outlandish or reasonable. So let me see the link here. What got filed? Because this came out today. I did not see it. Let me see here. Thank you guys for telling me because I was not paying attention. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, we'll just go through these super quick because they're not. This one's not really. This one is kind of what it is, and it kind of like it's not really. Notice of motions. Yeah, we want to grant relief in our untimely filings to deny Aaron's motion and grant any other relief. Okay, fair enough. That's not really anything super special there. Nick Rekida's support, an affidavit in support. Okay. Okay, this is actually... What? Okay, hold on. Oh my God, Nick, how much did you say, buddy? Whoa. Okay, so Nick filed he filed something in response here. He filed an affidavit in support of the motions. So, in the petition, Aaron requested a prohibition on social media and attempt to curtail my freedom of speech. The court did not grant that prohibition. However, the court did restrict the respondent's ability to freely travel. No, they didn't. You have the right to go anywhere you wanted to. Like, this is not... Yeah. Talking shit to the court is never a good idea. It's your fault, Judge! The prohibition on contacting Aaron placed a burden upon Nick and placed a burden upon me by restricting my ability to respond on social media platforms like Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble, as posting in threads attached to Aaron or channels Aaron appears on may constitute an indirect attempt. This overtly chilled Nick's speech and violating his First Amendment rights. Aaron made outright false statements in petition for the purpose of the order and infringing on my rights. Well, according to you. Aaron promptly requested... Nick promptly, God, fucking bouncing between him and Kayla. Nick promptly requested a hearing and dismissal and restoration of his rights. During the pendency of this case, Aaron has utilized a temporary order as a bludgeon and a shield. Gee, I don't know. You wonder where that's happening also right now, too. Taunting Nick to respond and making false statements about Nick on almost a daily basis. This court set a hearing date. Aaron would go on to request to see 3 consecutive continuances over objections from Nick. Every minute of delay overtly prejudices Nick and his rights. He can't even talk about himself in the first fucking person. Court finally held a hearing on August 26th, but did not complete said hearing. As a result, the court, at the request of Aaron, placed Nick under a sequestration order, impacting his right to speak about a hearing that was open to the public, recorded by the public, and broadly discussed on social media. You didn't abide by those terms, by the way. While the public could discuss every aspect of the hearing, Nick was not, which is not uncommon. Like, fucking deal with it. Like, courts gag parties to cases all the time. So, yeah. Like, that happens, dude. Like, with it, you must deal. Nick wanted to finish the hearing as soon as possible without delay. The court encouraged Nick to attempt settlement. Despite his misgivings and desire for a swift resolution, Nick attempted to settle in good faith. I mean, you said no, like the only option was dismiss. That was your only thing. So I don't know how it was good faith. Aaron's demands required Nick to agree to a multi-year prohibition of anything of him. This, again, is a naked attempt to utilize the courts to infringe on Nick's right of free speech and mirror the restrictions under his criminal act against his wife. Also, kind of like how Kayla's asking for a complete prohibition as well. Like, once again, the free speech warriors. Well, I guess they're, like, how can you take away people's right to speak about them? Courts can. They can. And these orders do that. And this is one of those times. And there's a good chance Kayla's probably going to get it against Aaron. And I'm sure you guys are just going to be ho-hum about it, which is going to be very interesting. Aaron pled guilty to his crime, admitting to all facts sufficient to conviction. Nick has not committed any crime against Aaron. Well, I mean, you don't think accessing his computer stuff was a crime? Oh, I mean, I guess. Despite negotiating in good faith, Nick was not willing to sacrifice his First Amendment right to settle an unsupported restraining order. Nick desired to immediately resolve the matter by completing the hearing. The court instead further delayed resolution by ordering attempts to settle. Yeah, once again, blame the judge. We're wrong. If the court fucks up, you really shouldn't be hammering on, judge, this is your fucking fault. Like, that's not a winning strategy, Chad. That's not a winning strat. Aaron was unwilling to get into it, settle absent an impermissible restriction on Nick's First Amendment rights. Aaron represented good faith negotiations toward the court. However, Aaron was unwilling to compromise their position and was unresponsive to Nick's communications through counsel. Well, what was your offer? What was your offer? Because I can't imagine it was anything other than drop it. Aaron attempted to utilize the court to harass his victim by preventing Nick from attending the sentencing hearing in which he was the victim support for his wife, who was to deliver her victim impact statement. Once again, I'm sure you were totally like the most supportive support ever. Aaron made multiple false statements about Nick and his request to make the court his accomplice in further victimizing respondent's wife. This, once again, holy fucking shit, fucking retard alert. Like, bing, ding, 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 ding. Really? Accuse the court of being a fucking accomplice in your shit. Wow. I'm sure this is going to convince a judge to do what the fuck you want. Wow. Wow. Fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Thankfully, the court did not grant Aaron's abuse and absurd request, but it did again. Make the attempt to settle with the court. Nick, despite knowing the settlement was impossible, attempted a final time. At his attorney-only scheduling conference, held yet another settlement conference set for April 13th, despite Nick having a pre-existing business commitment in Las Vegas, which you guys didn't do anything about for months and months on end. You didn't do anything for months and months on end. And you know what? Maybe your attorneys fucked around and didn't get filed in time, but filing it like the week before you're going is retarded. When Nick, for the first time in this action and multiple weeks ahead of date, it was not multiple weeks. It was not multiple weeks. For the first time, it wasn't your first time. Remember, Nick, your attorneys had sought continuances. And you're like, I didn't know about those. But you did. They did them on your behalf. Multiple weeks ahead of the date, they didn't. Requested a modification stylized a continuance, but actually just communicating a settlement conference was unnecessary, as settlement was impossible, is inexplicably denied. Settlement was not possible. When Nick communicated to the court that it was not possible, Aaron represented that settlement was possible. Well, I think it's going to be interesting because you guys are going to have to explain what your terms were at some point to the judge. The court's denial of a continuance, or actually cancellation of the scheduling conference, was accompanied by a burdensome requirement of an in-person attendance of settlement conference with no possibility of a settlement. This required an 11th hour change of flights for Nick and his wife, costing significant money. If it's business, it's tax deductible. Shortening a planned trip months prior and forcing respondent's wife to be in the presence of petitioner. Why did she have to be in the presence of Aaron? She had to be there? Like, what was the deal? She couldn't have dropped Nick off and drove away? She had to be, like, she was forced to be there? Like, come on now, man. Come on now. At this point, it had been nearly 10 months that Nick has been denied his only desire, his statutory guaranteed hearing that he promptly requested. Well, you already had part of it. Nick has complied with every single demand of the court, even demands brought by the overtly bad faith actions and lies of Aaron and his counsel. Nick has only accepted the overly burdensome costs and demands of the court, despite his sole desire to defend himself for false assertions made by Aaron and the restoration of his rights. I don't know. Given how you commented on shit in court, I don't think this is going the way you think it's going to go. Respondent was finally granted his ability to finish his hearing on June 5th, nearly a year after it was granted ex parte. Yeah. Yep, long time. And once again, let's talk shit about the fucking judge. The court then ordered a shocking 11-week briefing schedule. You and your attorney started making arguments and beating the First Amendment drum. So you start making all these arguments. Well, great. You have to brief them. Like, what did you think was going to happen? I don't know. Apparently, you're like shocked. Carrying the final briefing in this case to almost 2 months past the natural expiration date. The court extended the ex parte order until the briefing is complete and the court renders a decision, which that makes sense. The decision will come after 14 months and the granting of 12 months temporary ex parte order. Yeah. And I do think it's funny when Nick and all them had to realize, like, oh, just because the clock run, like, it doesn't just automatically expire. Like, the case pending keeps it alive. And it was funny when they had to realize, like, oh, it doesn't go away like Nick thought it was going to. That was a really funny thing when Moody had to bring up that General Steiner moment. The court extended the proposed sequestration order despite the closing of the hearing and the closing of any further collection of evidence. This sequestration order is a direct infringement on his First Amendment rights and would not survive a rational basis test, much less the strict scrutiny that would actually be applied. Go get fucking mandamus from the Court of Appeals if you really feel that way. There's no government interest in sequestering these parties post-trial, nor is an ongoing impermissible prior restraint against respondent. Go get a writ of mandamus. The respondent has been informed this is the longest contested HRO proceeding in Stearns County history. According to who? According to who? Nick, who is the burden party, is only asked to resolve this case as Minnesota law is supposed to allow, only repeatedly denied the opportunity to do so. Now, this part here, yeah, great. Perfect. This actually is good. Aaron requested an absurd 3-week timeline for his brief, requested an extension due to a non-specific illness. Aaron then requested the July 3rd and was granted the extension. He failed to meet the timeline in silence without further request. This part here, good. He didn't fucking do it. Dismissed for that. That's great instead of talking shit about the judge. You know, you're not giving your thing online, buddy. You're not streaming, so keep it to what the court wants to hear. Nick then asked the court to dismiss this obviously frivolous HRO petition. Well, it's not obviously frivolous, far from it. For want of prosecution, a failure to abide by court orders, which, yeah, I think those are good enough to go after, causing further delay and burdens. The court has still not responded to the request for dismissal. Yeah, and okay, well, that helps answer questions. It has not been responded to yet. Aaron filed his brief 11 days after and requested extended deadline. Okay, once again, we have Nick. If you think this is not how you handle it, the brief is embarrassing, short, blatantly misstates the law, facts, and the record. and is a perfect representation of Aaron's naked attempt to falsely utilize the courts to suppress Nick's rights. This is not going to help you the way you think it does. Further, Aaron failed to include a post-deadline motion for extension of time. I mean, I think that letter thing on front. In fact, Aaron doesn't even request an extension of time. He merely informs the court of what the new schedule will be. Well, he requested, but okay. Aaron did not make a showing under the 4-part Fingan test and made no attempt to request a finding of excusable neglect by the court as required by the law. Are you testifying like, once again, is your attorney working, Nick, or are you working? Because it's like who's actually in charge here? Who's running the show? Nick has suffered undue, overly burdensome cost and persistent infringement of his First Amendment rights. Every minute this case persists as an undue burden and an ongoing gross violation of his rights. Nick maintains a sole request in this case, dismissal of the HRO petition. And I swear I'm saying the smartest stuff here. Okay, buddy. Like, Jesus Christ. Is there any more of this Brian's motion? No, Brian's motion isn't here. Just Nick's, it looks like, which all 3 documents are dated. Oh, actually, hold on. No. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I got to cancel all these fuckers out. Too many tabs, like Kirsha mode's going. All right. What the hell did this guy write? Okay. All right. So we've got. Well, this is getting good, chat. The lawyer's motion's worse. I don't know. Nick's is just like, buddy, what are you getting into here? Yeah, Kirsha mentioned, yes. Also, happy birthday, Foxu. So an evidentiary hearing was held. Blah, 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 blah. They get to the point here. On July 7th, an email was sent asking about the status of the brief. Nobody responded. No response have been received to that correspondence. Thus, this motion is filed to preserve arguments, ensure the record is complete. Proper way to do it. Now, this is also, they're going to address things here. So, on its own initiative or upon motion of a party at such notice, the court can dismiss for failure to comply with any rules of the court. Once again, guys, remember, there are all kinds of court rules, but one of the basic ones is just meet deadlines. In this case, the petitioner willfully chose not to follow the court order setting the time in which the post-trial brief was due. The petitioner chose the date on which their own brief was due and sought the 1-week extensions. And they say a document that is filed tardy should not be accepted by the court unless the offending party provides adequate reasons for the tardy filing. And you should. I mean, you have, if other counsel's like, whatever, it's like, okay, but generally speaking, you should offer them anyway. Because the court might say, I don't care, I'm not accepting it. The court issues orders concerning a briefing schedule for its own case management. Sure, each party is heard by the court. While Aaron did provide an email to Chambers giving a rationale, that they are not part of the record, thus it should not be relied upon by the court. See Finnan v. Class. So, privately mailed letters are not part of the court record, do not impute knowledge of attorney neglect. Okay. Accordingly, the court should decline to accept the document, does not comply with the schedule. In absence of a document in the record supporting, accepting, finding of filling of time. Yeah. And once again, I don't know what's in that email unless he's arguing here that the Chambers email doesn't count. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Unless the court specifies an order, a dismissal pursuant to this is not provided for in this rule. Operates as an adjudication upon the merits. Thus supports the court appeals rules of using a usual favoring of district courts deciding matters upon the merits. And that's, like I said, guys, following the rules is the big thing. Now, you might say, wait, isn't Aaron addressing the rest of this? Or why isn't Brian addressing the, responding to it? They still have time to respond. So they're just trying to save time and effort saying, just dismiss it now. I don't want to have to write my motion. And nothing wrong with that. That's actually a valid way of addressing this. They say even if the civil rules don't directly dismiss relief, the Finden factors also favor dismissal. Explain the factors determining whether a subject to be set aside. Okay, so Nick didn't even cite, like, he fucking misspelled, like, I don't know if Nick misspelled the case or even knew what the case was called, but, who knows with Baldo. There is no reasonable excuse appearing on the court record for failing or neglecting to obey the order. Based on what we've seen or what's been posted, no, but we don't have access to the record. Petitioner has made no attempt on the record to explain his attorney's failure to file that brief in the time allotted. Now, it's not Aaron's job to explain that. That's counsel is explaining. Just so you guys know, it's not like Aaron's job to do that. To respond to the record on the issue, the note of issue, or to take any action on the record following his receipt, a correspondence for judicial approval. Informing to seek attention on the dismissal of action. Thus, the court had no choice but to conclude such a neglect was inexcusable. And they point out here under basic principles agency, such neglect is chargeable to the client. And that's true. If you're the attorney and you fuck up, sometimes that fuck up gets put on your client. And that's why, like, clients can sue for malpractice. Had they done the thing they weren't supposed to do, you would be fine. So that is a thing there. And they say, while Aaron's attorney did send an email to Chambers and to Brian White, such emails are not part of the official court record and do not serve as a basis to avoid the Finden analysis. This factor supports dismissal. The late filing prejudices Nick. First, Nick is prejudiced because the attorney leaves for a long overdue vacation on July 17th and will not return until late on July 29th. Then the attorney is out of state on other matters until August 15th. The time for responding was based on the timely filing of the brief, and that is a fair argument to make. Once again, remember, if it's 5 days late, that's still 5 days they don't have to prepare, that they are getting back. And they say that, however, that isn't the most pressing prejudice to Nick. Every day that passes, the respondent is unable to speak about a matter of much public exposure and publicity. Nick's constitutional right of free speech in the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution is thus injured by the delay. Rights should only be curtailed to the minimum extent necessary to achieve a compelling interest. The delay by failing to follow the court's order is not the minimum extent necessary. Thus, it supports dismissal. And this is not a statutory thing or case law. They're just pointing out prejudice. And you can make an argument of just regular prejudice to a party. It doesn't have to be necessarily supported. If you can support it with case law or statutes or rules, you do. But just pointing out unfairness, it is a regular, term of court. It's fairness is one of the major parts of a court, and they're arguing fairness there. And it says Nick remains a public figure sought for legal commentary. Okay. He received national media attention as recently this week. So when combined with all of this, it supports dismissal. Aaron is possessed of no significant ability to prevail on the merits. I don't know about that. And they say waiting over 10 days after a brief is tardy is not acting with due diligence. And that I would be making the same argument here. Due diligence is filing a motion for a second continuance non-protonc. Due diligence will be filing the brief as soon as it is notified it is tardy, which it sounds like it should have been. I think he's arguing when you realize the 7th that email came out, you should be like, oh shit. Neither happened. A letter was filed with a brief over 10 days late, assuming the court would accept the late filing and continue to an amended timetable. Thus, this Finden factor also supports dismissal. On whether the court they're asking the court to grant the motion. Notice it's not a mandatory, it's discretionary. Dismiss the action on the merits and other relief the court may deem proper. I know Nick seems to think he's going to get, like attorney's fees. Not going to happen here. So, Edward saying, will this show open the door showing how much is talking about the case? No. Nope. Not going to care. Does it involve Rule 34? No. Please be an AI case. I doubt it's an AI case. Swim Sim says the Finden factors apply to a default judgment. Maybe they do, but I'm assuming there's probably a little bit of, over the time it's been litigated, they probably address these issues where things have gone on and things have just disappeared down the rat hole. Who knows? Like I said, I think Aaron is in a position where, is it going to be granted? It could be. And if it got granted and Aaron tried to appeal that, an appeals court's going to be like, no, you guys missed the date. Too bad, so sad. Don't know. Don't know. Like I said, it's Aaron's to lose. And even though it's technically isn't Aaron losing it, his attorney is his agent. So it is technically Aaron's to lose. So yes, Aaron may have lost it. And this would not be another win for the toe. So we'll see. Fin factors only apply to default judges from what I could tell. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I just literally read that. I have no idea. So Nick's real strategy is to kill engagement by making everybody covered out of boredom. Swim says, I wonder what was in the email between him and the court. I don't know. Once again, for some reason, it wasn't discussed again in this motion by Brian White or Brian Lewis or whoever the fuck he is, one of the Barnes Walkers, which makes you wonder what was in it. So, and even if it was a compelling reason, as like if I was Nick's attorney or I was in that situation, I'd still be going hard on the paint, asking for a dismissal too. Beat the drum anyway. But it sounds like, I wonder if he's kind of like also like, okay, this may have actually been a good reason. But we don't know what that reason was. Nobody said what that reason was. Not even Nick. Which, if it was some stupid reason, you think he would have come blabbing about it. Or if it was something really embarrassing, he would have really blabbed about it. Because he would have asked his attorney, and his attorney would have told him. I don't know what's happened. So there's a little bit of weirdness here. What's a writ of Matt Damon? Or writ of mandamus? If they believe they're entitled to something, it's an order from a higher court ordering a lower court to perform a certain action that they're entitled to. I don't think they're entitled to it, but if Nick thought he was, go get it. Go get it. This restriction. So now Aaron is probably being defended by his paralegal, so it's probably being serious. I don't know anything about that if that's a joke, so. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is the story of the two gayest men in Minnesota. They still can't quit each other. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. All right, moving on, guys. Oh, God, we got to catch up here. That took a while. Sorry, chat. That took a while. All right, so some other things that are going on out there. If you guys weren't aware, Harvey Weinstein's getting resentenced in his rape case that he had where he was convicted out in California. Court of Appeals reversed it on the sentencing. He's still convicted. And he got 16 years in prison, and there's Harvey Weinstein there. But yeah, he had to get resentenced. So we'll see what happens, but it doesn't change anything. He's probably going to die in prison. Remember, he's got his cases out in New York as well, where he's facing rape and other things as well. So yeah, I guess, maybe it'll be a little better for him. Don't know. Catching up on some other stuff, guys, here. I thought this was interesting. A law school is banning laptops and phones because of AI cheating. So the University of Chicago's like 1L law students, you aren't going to be allowed to have phones, laptops in, they call it freshman level courses, but your 1L courses. As it rejects curriculum to be more AI resilient. I don't know how you can make it resilient, because when you're in law school, you have what are called like survey classes, like the concepts in property and contracts. And those are all like just the basic, they're called surveys. You learn the basics of these things. I don't know how you could avoid that. But number one, like, kids are going to have to write. Do you think these kids nowadays know how to write? Like, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works here. But anyways, the school didn't mention AI, but cheating. And they say there's an impact on education, plunging literacy and numeracy skills on students. Well, getting to them in law school, you're a little too fucking late. But I've heard at times there are times where professors have banned laptops. But like, God, imagine having to write all your shit out. That would kill me. And having to write in a blue book for your final. Oh, my hand hurts just thinking about it. So I don't know how that can, And yeah, I heard about this though at Brown. You know, a bunch, like half the students taking something may have cheated. Um, you know, Princeton dropped its honor code and they make students be supervised. I don't see how this works. You know, the technology and the law are going to be, they're intertwined and you're not going to get rid of it. I just think you need to, you know, just make sure they understand you can't use AI. You use AI, you're going to get fucked in the law. And let them suffer, but to restrict this stuff, I just think is a little bit of an issue. Joe says I was a blue book savant. Blue books were awful to do. And they're on a quarterly system too. 3 finals. Jeez. Ugh. Most law schools are semester only. And I caught one of my students cheating with her iWatch. Well, I don't know. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, suffer students. Imagine just suffering for everybody. Suffering for everybody. And going on from there, guys, some good news out of Ohio. And I'm actually kind of thrilled about this. Ohio is joining Florida and Texas and a couple other states. They're amending their rules of governance regarding the bar of Ohio, taking the state bar. So this is good. And in Ohio, the Supreme Court is in charge of setting rules for these, setting rules for the bar. They're in charge of supervising it and overseeing it. In Ohio, the State Bar Association is not a governing authority. It's a voluntary group. But what are they looking to do here? Well, they're talking about admissions to practice law. And the one thing they're going to do is to be admitted to practice law in Ohio, you shall satisfy all the following. Be at least 21 years old. Have earned a bachelor's degree or doctoral level degree from an accredited college or university. Have a JD or an LLB degree from a law school that was approved by an accrediting agency recognized by the U.S. Department of Education or a state accrediting agency, subject to guidelines established by the Supreme Court of Ohio. Notice what got removed: the American Bar Association. More and more states are defanging the American Bar Association, which is great. I think, who cares? This is important. This helps depoliticize schools. And I think that should be the case everywhere. Schools should be depoliticized as much as possible. And watching these commies and statists in the ABA suffer, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, chat. So that's some great news coming out of Ohio. It is interesting, though, like the Federal Trade Commission, offered a involvement as well. We support this. And it's like, I guess it's a little weird that they're involved, but yeah, they're getting involved on it. So cool, I guess. Cool story, bro. And then from here, guys, a bit of a bad guys win segment, which I hate to do. I hate to do it, guys, but you have to see it sometimes. The good guys losing, the bad guys win. If you guys remember out in California, the Indian truck driver who just, right into a bunch of cars and killed multiple people. You could watch it where he just literally smashes into cars and, all kinds of people. And if you guys don't remember, it's this one if you haven't seen it. This is the dash cam video of that trucker out in California. Just boom, 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 boom. Lights everything on fire. And yeah, this guy killed multiple people. Well, he killed 3 people. You're like, okay, well, that should be a lot. Maybe not life. But he got less than 5 years. Jashanpreet Singh, I think is how you say that. I don't know. Sar! An Indian migrant who entered the country in the Biden administration, smashed into a bunch of vehicles in October 2025. He pleaded guilty to 3 counts of felony vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence. He faced up to 10 years, which is like, okay, well, that's not much better, but it's still better than 5. Got sentenced Tuesday to 4 years and 8 months. Remember, he gets time served. ICE put an immigration detainer on him. But think about it, in a couple of years, there might not be a Republican administration in charge. Guess what? They might let this cocksucker back out and lift the detainer. And yeah, here is the vehicles. Here's the havoc this man wrought. Look at this. Look at the havoc he created. Absolutely awful. Absolutely awful what he did. I mean, think about that. What did these people do to deserve this? What do these people do to deserve this? And they point out, like, it didn't stop. He didn't swerve. And yeah, there he is, the best from India. So what did they find out? Well, this is where we also found out that California illegally upgraded his driver's license to comply with federal law. And yeah, his rights were suddenly promoted to restricted CDL to an expanded one. And yeah, the days all coincided with his 21st birthday. And you're like, wow, that's great. That's great. Isn't that great, chat? Yeah, they're not sending their best. No, not on this one. So, but this has led to, while that may be the case, on a positive side, we have seen states now where they're pulling over truck drivers, doing inspections, and they say, please read this. And if you can't read it, they immediately revoke your CDL and they take your truck and seize it and stop you from driving it. So it's sad that it's come to this, but yeah. It's a start. It's a start. But, yeah, sometimes the bad guys win, guys. And that happens. And you're going to have to deal with it. And in another case, apparently Hunter Biden is not defamation proof. Honestly, if you'd have told me, like, can you defame Hunter Biden short of, like, defamation per se, where you tell him he committed a crime, which he didn't commit. Okay, fine. But overall, Hunter Biden is not defamation proof. And that's a shocker to me. That's a shocker to me. Yes, the guy who has, like, photos of him smoking a crack pipe while he's in underwear, wearing a scarf and his glasses on. Or he's in the hot tub, in a bubble bath with, like, his cracked out mouth and a crack pipe. And all those different things that happened to him. Maybe he was smoking crack with the Obama girls. Who knows what he's doing? Being the bag man for his dad and collecting all that skim money in Ukraine. Being the bag man when they went to China. Like, all that stuff. Apparently, you could still defame this man. Knocking up that hooker in Arkansas and, basically forsaking the kid. Although, like, it's, a hooker in Arkansas naming your kid Navy, kind of, not really a surprise. Yeah, it's just so much happened there. And you're like, apparently he could still be defamed. So who did he get defamed by? He got defamed by the guy who is a CEO, the former CEO of Overstock. And so, yes, a federal judge, they went ahead and over comments that were made. And what did he say? Well, he claims that Biden reached out to the Iranian government in 2021, offering to have his father unfreeze $8 billion in exchange for a bribe. Honestly, it wouldn't fucking surprise me if that did happen. It's not like the government, it's not like Hunter was out there not collecting money for his dad. But anyways, he wrote that, there's ample evidence that he knew the story was false, yet continue to make it anyway. And once again, this gets you into, like, he's committing crimes. And he says he's motivated to defame because of the hostility towards Biden and his family, which, yeah, once again, you can't let Biden derangement syndrome get a hold of you. And it says that, the most plausible explanation is that the guy was incredible. He fabricated awesome and far-fetched narratives to garner media attention and fabricated this case to damage Hunter Biden's reputation, which, honestly, I don't know how much more you could damage it. It's kind of like Kayla's and Nick's. Like, can you really damage it any more than what it is? I don't know. It's really fucking bad already. Burisma was at least $1 billion scheme, yeah. Yeah, he's just like Don Jr. and Eric Armstrong's bag man. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally there. Arkansas, so the Clintons were involved. No, nobody died. He just banged a hooker in Arkansas. And nobody got killed. Like, the Clintons are just like, I'm too tired to get involved. I'm too tired to get involved. So, anyways, that's where it is. Apparently, Hunter Biden can be defamed. Hunter Biden's like, his lies caused real damage and endangered my family. I'm sure you did a lot. Like, I don't think that's necessarily caused endangered your family there, Hunter. I'm sure there's a lot of things that endangered your family. But that thing alone, I never heard of those claims. There's a bunch of other stuff that your family's done, and like what your uncle got pardoned for, and what how much money he made in housing and real estate after the Iraq War, and all kinds of stuff. But no, not that. I actually never heard that claim. So no, but I've heard a bunch of other ones that you may have been involved in. So like what happened when you're going over, had your daddy help you come out in China and you guys did stuff like, yeah, like those things, yes. Burisma, yes. But this, no, I never heard of that. So that was interesting when I saw that. But guys, that is it for us tonight. We are all caught up and it's 12:37. Jam. We got to get done. We got to get done here. All right, let's catch up on some super chats here. Jamie Moodley has been a member for 23 months, so it says, it's so yellow out because I live in Korea. Meme Copium and Legal Mindset know that struggle. Although not necessarily in Korea, but, out there in Riceland. Living in Stoogs walls temporarily. Once again, Stoogs or Stugs. So if you live inside the armor plating on a Stoog, you're going to better be careful. Report from the other side, Vince remains dumb. Well, I don't know what the hell. Okay. Marlene saying, oh, yes, Chuck Barris claimed the statements and he was never employed. And he admitted that it was all a marketing gimmick. Well, that's fucking hilarious that he got people to buy it. BobTube for $5 doodle says, if the flock cameras can't detect who destroyed them, what good are they? It's true. It's true. How does it work? You don't know if it works. Like, Jefferson Post says the taxpayers were victimized with the purchase order. I would agree. Trucker Rob has been here for 9 months. Well, I know you've been here longer than that, but a member for 9 months. Says Sean. Hello. Well, hi, Rob. How are you? I hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're trucking and hope you're avoiding all the Indians out there. So, Mystery Sniper, who's been a member for 32 months, says, hello, X-Blocker. It was just flooding my notifications. I was like, one stop. Gamgron says, grad student union at UC Berkeley's UAW. Yeah, well, there are grad student unions in a couple different places. That's actually not uncommon. Fukamaru. Actually, that was pretty good, actually. Brian Johnson pulled a Nick Rekieta. He just blew off court. Sounds like he did. Although he gave an email. We don't know what's in that. Nobody's discussed that email. So what was it? But yeah, he might have pulled a Nick. I thought Nick would be the subject matter expert on just like doing that, but okay. Yeah, we don't know for sure. Jefferson Post says, is it better to ask for permission than forgiveness in court? No, you don't want to do that. No, you'd rather ask for forgiveness, but it's a lot easier just to like do it by the deadline. And if you're not going to be able to do it and the deadline's coming, you still file a motion or something. And it still might get denied, but you don't just like, fuck it, I'll worry about it later. But once again, maybe it was something huge. We don't really know. And that has not been clarified or put on the record, even as of today, based on what Brian Lewis put together. We don't know. We don't know. Osa Commando's been a member for 18 months. Thank you. It says, The chair for all these Jeep drivers. And then Super Wiener is a new member. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support and re-up, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Jet, very, very much. Did I see that the Iranians are claiming that Kushner and Witkoff are trying to leverage and delay peace talks to get the IRGC on their insider trading based on war news? I mean, I'd like to say that's probably propaganda, but who the like at this point, who the fuck knows? Like that 15% probable there. Ironically, none of us thought of this until the lawsuit, yes. The mob wax people, the Clintons, it's called Arkanside, yes. Please read my chat. I am sad. I just read your chat. How does the background look exactly like the same as Ohio? It just worked. Glad your cough went away. Yeah, it just takes a little while. Just took a little while. Cough all that crap up. Meme and Mindset did sleep on the floor. Where? Did they paint the wall the same god-awful gray? No, it's like a blue, but that's the people we bought from did that. So. Tell Mandy Matney that. Oh, yeah. So Mandy Matney is like one of the big podcasters who was like a big well, she believes Alex Murdaugh did it, and she was like kind of like just a big bitch about everything during the trial, the first Murdaugh trial. She got subpoenaed and was like in a lawsuit for some issue, and she didn't show up for a deposition, and she's fucked around in it, and she got sanctioned like $175,000. I'm gonna go through the filings. I found the filings on that to cover, and it's like really fucking crazy. It's like when you true crime too hard, and you end up like owing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, T-Rex says, what's the constitutionality of Ohio requiring passengers in traffic stops to provide identification on request? Like the passenger is suspected of a crime. That's where that becomes an issue because, what is actually at stake here and what is that? Where is... Because I want to show it. And, ultimately, it comes down to, and this is where I kind of want to show you guys, and I might do a separate video on this. It's not just like if you're just sitting in the car, they can say, well, they have to show. Let me see here. Latest bill and tax rule. Will it load? Okay, well, it's still, I think it's horseshit anyway, but they're going to get away with it on this. And I don't think they should be allowed to, but, if they have reason to believe you help violate traffic and motor vehicle laws, they can, is mainly what they're claiming this is. But the cops are going to fucking abuse the shit out of this. The cops are going to abuse the shit out of this. I 100% know that they're going to. And also, I don't know, like the arguments that they're going to say, like, oh, I think you helped commit a motor vehicle violation as the passenger. How? But I think overall it's bullshit and they shouldn't be allowed to do it. But they could still ask for your license if they think you've committed a crime. So, for example, if they have reason to believe you just robbed a bank, they could ask for, like, if they, they could still do that. And then also at the end of the day, they can always still get you out of the car, Pennsylvania versus Mims. So there are far bigger structural issues than this, but this is not good. So, let me see. Hella, if you could help me get a hold of that, I would like to hear it and see it. Oh, you recorded the hearing? Great. It's unconstitutional. I mean, if they think you committed a crime, they do have the right to, like courts are not going to hold that unconstitutional. Just merely coming up to the car and say, hey, you've been pulled over speeding. I need your ID too. That would be unconstitutional. But I don't know how when you come up to a car, you think that the passenger helped commit a crime as well regarding the traffic laws. I still don't understand that. That's weird to me. But yeah. Could be an anti-trafficking idea. No. I mean, because if you think there, like, let's say you thought there was a trafficking issue, you'd ask him to step out of the car and separate him. And then you could talk to that person. You know, once again, officer safety. They can always, for whatever reason, that one they can abuse all the time. Pennsylvania versus Mims is bullshit. They ignore the actual ruling. Yeah, that. Well, welcome to America, my friend. Welcome to America. My friend had a girlfriend. They're driving down the road. She had a woman and yanks the e-brake with them going 45. Pretty sure she committed a crime. I mean, yeah, that's like maybe the only, like I can see that happening. So, you heard Chili DeCastro's back in jail. Well, that's hilarious. I'm sure he did something retarded as he tends to do. So, all right, guys. With that said, we will end it here. We are going to head over to locals, and I still need to get, you know, that the law just went into effect, so I need to see what the law actually entails, and I'll probably do something about it. Since I still am licensed to practice in the state of Ohio, still a practicing attorney, still a licensed attorney, still active. We'll probably get into that and cover that, but we are going to head over to locals, and I will see you guys there. Tomorrow night, we're going to go over some of the lolcow stuff with Denhams, Frogan. As I said before, Ethan Klein and Noah Sampson ended up dismissing. Ethan Klein dismissed, and it's, yeah, once again, like he, you know, Noah Sampson did not defame Ethan Klein, as I said. And then from there, Price to Smash JT stuff, because apparently that's going to California now, allegedly. Yeah, and what else are we gonna do? I don't know. Maybe some Russell Greer. I don't know. Throw in there. But I will see you guys tomorrow. And remember, until next time, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Good night, everybody, and take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick Hayden yelled at? Why, yes it was, he even knows he's fat. For all this fun and more, there's one place to go, here on Sean Martin's Potentially Criminal Show. Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. whatever you do, just don't talk to cops. Even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean